Chapter 1814. What kind of treasure is this? Everyone's body trembled, and their eyes revealed a trace of disbelief and incomparable excitement. On the other hand, Tai Xinyuan, Xiao Rui, Huang Xuanzong, Lin Shi, and the others all stood up at the same time. Their eyes shone brightly as they revealed an extremely excited expression. Everyone, this is the last item for today's auction. It's also the most precious treasure in the entire auction, the Enlightenment Futon. Yao Ji's eyes were also filled with excitement as she spoke slowly to the crowd. Buzz. She opened the golden box, and a green futon appeared in front of everyone. The futon looked very exquisite, and the green patterns on it were filled with strange fluctuations. Chaotic mist lingered around it, and the light was dazzling. It exuded a vast aura of the holy path. Brother Zhao, this is the Enlightenment Futon. It's a supreme treasure refined from the leaves of the Enlightenment tree. If you can sit on the Enlightenment Futon and cultivate, not only will you not have any inner demons, but you will also be able to integrate with the true meaning of the Great Tao. Your cultivation will improve by leaps and bounds. Most importantly, with the help of the Enlightenment Futon, even a 9-star alchemy grandmaster will be able to reach the realm of an alchemy saint and refine a supreme divine pill. It can be said that with the Enlightenment Futon, you will definitely be able to take the top spot in this alchemy talisman ceremony. Lu Wenlong said excitedly. The Enlightenment Futon is refined using the Enlightenment tree as the raw material? Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with a strange look. In terms of understanding of the Enlightenment tree, who could compare to him? One had to know that the Changsun sect in the lower realm had an entire Enlightenment tree. It was the foundation of the Changsun sect. That's right. The Enlightenment tree is the innate spiritual root of the Buddhism sect. It's said that the Enlightenment Futon was passed down from the Buddhism sect. It's just in time for this alchemy talisman ceremony, so the 4 major families are determined to get the Enlightenment Futon. They hope to take the top spot in the alchemy talisman ceremony. Lu Qingwan said slowly. Everyone, the Enlightenment Futon is a flawless saint treasure and a mid-grade saint treasure, but its effect is more precious than many high-grade saint treasures. This is because when you cultivate on the Enlightenment Futon, not only can you calm your mind and comprehend the origin of the Great Path, but you can also kill your inner demons. It can even be said that with the Enlightenment Futon, the success rate of becoming a saint will increase by more than 30%. Yao Ji's voice resounded throughout the auction hall. Immediately, everyone's eyes turned red and their breathing quickened. They all looked at the Enlightenment cushion with greed and passion. Could it increase the success rate of becoming a saint? It should be known that even if a 9th revolution half-saint wanted to become a saint, without sufficient preparation and accumulation, and without powerful good fortune treasures, the success rate would be less than 5%. Those 9th revolution half-saints who had been accumulating for tens of thousands of years or even hundreds of thousands of years didn't dare to make a breakthrough because it was too difficult to become a saint. They would either succeed or die. It could be said that although there was only a step between a 9th revolution half-saint and a saint, it was as difficult as climbing the sky. Countless 9th revolution half-saints would go crazy for the Enlightenment Futon if it could increase the success rate by 30%, not to mention the others. I think everyone knows the importance and preciousness of the Enlightenment Futon. The starting price of the Enlightenment Futon is 10 million drops of Saint Liquid. Each bid must be at least 10,000 drops of Saint Liquid. Please make your bids. Yao Ji said slowly. 10 million drops of Saint Liquid? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The starting price was already the same as the price of the last golden saint token. Many people couldn't help but give up with a bitter smile. No matter how good the treasure was, it was a pity that they didn't have the strength to take it. The only people who could take the Enlightenment Futon were the 4 major families and the 5 elements saint sect. Everyone's eyes fell on them, waiting for them to bid. 12 million drops of Saint Liquid. Xiao Rui's eyes flashed and took the lead to bid. 15 million drops of Saint Liquid. Huang Xuanzong followed closely and said without hesitation. 18 million drops of Saint Liquid. Lu Wenlong also took a deep breath and said with incomparable excitement. Within the auction hall, bids rang out one after another. The prices caused everyone's hearts to palpitate. Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. 10 million drops of saint liquid was the entire resource of a divine nation or a mid-grade family. After all, saint liquid was incomparably precious. If one wanted to break through to the divine king realm, half-saint realm, and a true saint, the saint liquid was indispensable. It was far from being comparable to divine stones. However, in the eyes of the 4 major families and the 5 elements saint sect, the saint liquid was just a number. They would do anything for the enlightenment futon. In the corner of the second floor, there was an old monk with a bitter face. An old monk with a frown was sitting in the private room. He looked very thin and weak, like a bag of bones. He was wearing a shabby kasaya and his body was faintly glowing with a dark golden light. His face was filled with wrinkles, making him look very old. His snow-white eyebrows were very long, and his eyes seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life. He had a compassionate temperament. Beside the old monk sat a little monk. He looked to be 7 or 8 years old. He was white and chubby, like a porcelain doll. He had a pair of round eyes, and his chubby face was very cute. However, the little monk was the same as the old monk. They were both sighing. "Master, the enlightenment futon is our last treasure. Are we really going to sell it like this?" The little monk said crisply. His eyes were filled with reluctance. "What can we do if we don't sell it? If we don't sell it, how are we going to buy all kinds of heavenly treasures and divine weapons for a little bastard like you? Our Sanskrit temple's hopes are all on you. You can't disappoint me." The old monk said with a bitter smile. "Master, then I won't eat heavenly treasures and divine weapons. The enlightenment futon is your most beloved treasure. I don't want to sell it like this." The little monk said with tears in his eyes. "Hui Ning, don't cry. Master is still waiting for you to revive the Sanskrit temple and kill that traitor. If you sell a mere enlightenment futon, then sell it. It's nothing." The old monk said slowly. "Yes, master." The little monk sobbed as he stopped crying. "However, this fortune treasure pavilion didn't disappoint me. It seems like the 4 major families and the 5 elements saint sect are determined to get the enlightenment futon. When the time comes, I'm afraid it will be auctioned for an unimaginable price. At that time, we will have the saint liquid to buy a flawless saint treasure for you." The old monk looked at the situation in the auction hall and said with satisfaction, "Flawless saint treasure?" When the little monk heard the words flawless saint treasure, his eyes instantly lit up. He even forgot to cry, and saliva flowed out of his mouth. Chapter 18:15. 30 million drops of saint liquid. When Lu Wenlong's voice resounded in the auction hall, everyone couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with shock. The Lu family had really put in a lot of effort this time. When 30 million drops of saint liquid appeared, even Xiao Rui, Iron-Hearted Yuan, and Huang Xuanzong frowned. Their faces were filled with struggle. 30 million drops of saint liquid was indeed a sky-high price. It was more than enough to buy the enlightenment praying mat. It wasn't that they didn't want to continue bidding, but the price was too high and they didn't have enough saint liquid on them. "Brother Iron, can you lend me some saint liquid? When I get the enlightenment praying mat, I can lend it to Brother Iron to cultivate for a period of time." Xiao Rui suddenly transmitted his voice to Iron-Hearted Yuan. After Iron-Hearted Yuan bought the golden sacred badge, he didn't have much saint liquid on him. It wasn't enough to bid for the enlightenment praying mat. So when the price of the enlightenment praying mat exceeded 20 million drops of saint liquid, Iron-Hearted Yuan gave up. Hearing Xiao Rui's words, Iron-Hearted Yuan's eyes flashed and said, "Brother Xiao, I can lend you some saint liquid because I'm also unhappy with Lu Wenlong. But you have to promise me one thing. I can lend you all 20 million drops of saint liquid." "What is it?" Xiao Rui's spirit shook as he hurriedly transmitted his voice. "Give up on pursuing Lin Shi and stand on the same side as me in the future. Help me pursue Lin Shi and I can help you deal with Lu Wenlong. I know that this pill talisman ceremony is very important to you and the Xiao family. As long as you promise me, I can represent the Tai family to form an alliance with you." Iron-Hearted Yuan said faintly and said a temptation that Xiao Rui couldn't resist. Xiao Rui was still struggling. After all, he was also very fond of Lin Shi. But in the end, he still decided to get the enlightenment praying mat for the Shao family and the first place of the pill talisman ceremony. Alright. I promise you. Xiao Rui gritted his teeth and said, Great. I believe in Brother Shao and the Shao family's reputation. I'll give you 20 million drops of Saint Liquid right now. Iron-hearted Yuan laughed heartily. 35 million drops of Saint Liquid. While Xiao Rui and Ironheart Yuan were discussing, Huang Xuanzong also gritted his teeth and added another 5 million drops of Saint Liquid. This was already Huang Xuanzong's limit. Although the 5 Elements Saint sect was powerful, they might not be as wealthy as the Pill Talisman Mountain. Huang Xuanzong was willing to offer 35 million drops of Saint Liquid, and that was also his limit. If there was anyone who offered a higher price, even Huang Xuanzong wouldn't be able to take it down. 40 million drops of holy liquid. At this moment, Lin Shi frowned and shouted a price with great difficulty. Although the Lin family was the head of the 4 great families, 40 million drops of sacred liquid was not a small sum to the Lin family. Lin Shi had also paid a heavy price for the Dao Enlightenment Futon. Looks like the Enlightenment praying mat is going to fall into their hands. Lu Wenlong smiled bitterly. He had already decided to give up. The 30 million drops of sacred liquid were given to him by the Lu family to auction off the Enlightenment Futon, but now it seemed that it was far from enough. That's the Enlightenment praying mat. The person who obtains it is destined to become the champion of the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. Lu Qingwan's eyes were also filled with regret. Ling Xiao didn't say anything. The Enlightenment praying mat that everyone was scrambling for wasn't that attractive to him. Ling Xiao even thought that when the time came, he could cut off some leaves from the enlightenment tree of the Changsun sect and casually make some enlightenment praying mats. Wouldn't the Changsun sect be rich? 40 million drops of sacred liquid. Is there anyone else who wants to continue bidding? You have to know that this is the enlightenment praying mat. Not only can it be used to destroy one's inner demon and comprehend the origin of the great Tao, it can also allow you to be the champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony. Yao Ji's tempting voice rang out in the auction hall. Although the price had already exceeded Yao Ji's expectations, he still continued to incite everyone's emotions. However, the auction hall was very quiet, as if everyone had already given up on bidding. 40 million drops of sacred liquid was already an unimaginable price. 40 million drops of sacred liquid once, 40 million drops of sacred liquid twice. Yao Ji was slightly disappointed. He could only announce it according to the procedure. Suddenly, Xiao Rui's eyes flashed and he continued to bid. 50 million drops of sacred liquid. As soon as Xiao Rui's voice fell, everyone's eyes fell on him. Even Lin Shi's eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. How could the Shao clan be willing to take out so much sacred liquid to auction the enlightenment praying mat? Junior sister Lin, I only have 50 million drops of sacred liquid on me. If your bid is higher than 50 million drops of sacred liquid, I will give up. Xiao Rui smiled at Lin Shi. No need. I don't have that much sacred liquid. The enlightenment praying mat is yours. Lin Shi was a little regretful, but she still said lightly. Thank you, junior sister Lin. Xiao Rui said with a smile. Everyone also breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the enlightenment praying mat was going to fall into Xiao Rui's hands. This price made countless people flinch, but it was only used to buy a mid-grade sacred treasure, the enlightenment praying mat. Everyone had an incomparably intuitive understanding of the strength of the 4 major clans. 50 million drops of sacred liquid once, 50 million drops of sacred liquid twice, 50 million drops of sacred liquid thrice. Congratulations to young Master Xiao Rui for winning the enlightenment praying mat. Yao Ji announced. Xiao Rui breathed a sigh of relief. Although he paid a great price, he finally got the enlightenment praying mat. In the private room, the old monk and the little monk's eyes also revealed an incomparably excited look. Master, 50 million drops of sacred liquid, this is the most expensive one among all your treasures, right? Do you have other more expensive treasures? The little monk Huining said to the old monk excitedly. The old monk was originally very happy, but after hearing Huining's words, his face suddenly darkened and said, No more. My treasures have all been squandered by a prodigal little bastard like you. 50 million drops of sacred liquid should be able to support you for a while. Sigh, when you enter the 8-treasure lotus merit pool, you must work hard for me. Master, don't worry. I will definitely beat those bald donkeys to a pulp. The little monk Huining said seriously. Bang. The old monk gave Huining a blow and said angrily, "Who are you calling a bald donkey? You are a little bald donkey yourself. If you dare to talk nonsense again, be careful that Buddha will appear and expel you from Buddhism." Master, you hit me again. For so many years, I have never seen Buddha appear. The little monk Huining held his head, and it was so painful that tears were about to fall. Let's go to the Fortune Treasure Pavilion to buy a flawless sacred treasure for you to try. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will break your legs. Chapter 1816. The auction was over. Ling Xiao was very satisfied. Not only did he get the blood soul fruit and the 9-headed centipede, but he also got the seal of mountains and rivers and other treasures. The seal of mountains and rivers was not simple. If it could help the Thunder Spirit King break through, it would be a great opportunity. Ling Xiao went to the backstage of the Fortune Treasure Tower and saw the charming enchantress. After handing over all the treasures, Ling Xiao still had more than 6 million drops of holy liquid left. Master Zhao, I didn't expect you to be such a handsome young man. If you need anything in the future, feel free to look for me. I will definitely satisfy you. The enchantress winked at Ling Xiao, and then left, swaying her slender waist. She left behind a fragrant wind that left a lingering aftertaste. Ling Xiao was speechless. The enchantress was really a seductress. Brother Zhao, it seems that the enchantress is interested in you. Do you want to try? I heard that the enchantress's background is not simple. Lu Wenlong looked at the enchantress's back and smiled at Ling Xiao. Forget it. I think the enchantress is more suitable for you. Brother Lu, here are 2 golden holy badges. Please keep them well. For these 2 golden holy badges, just give me 6 million drops of holy liquid. Ling Xiao shook his head and smiled. He then took out the 2 golden holy badges and handed them to Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinglun. How can I do that? The 3 golden holy badges that Brother Zhao auctioned were sold for 20 million drops of holy liquid. I can't take advantage of Brother Zhao. Let's go with 8 million drops of holy liquid each. Lu Wenlong shook his head. His attitude was very firm. Brother Lu, you don't have to be so polite with me. You saw it too. If I didn't bid on purpose, how could Lin Shi bid such a high price? 3 million drops of holy liquid is the normal price. Ling Xiao said with a smile. However, Lu Wenlong would not agree no matter what. He did not want to take advantage of Ling Xiao. Moreover, it was Ling Xiao who had helped him obtain the Heart Core Sutra in the Pill and Talisman Dao College. In the end, Ling Xiao could not change his mind and could only accept Lu Wenlong's 16 million drops of sacred liquid, instantly making Ling Xiao rich. Brother Zhao, the Pill Talisman ceremony is about to begin. We have to go back and prepare. Goodbye. If Brother Zhao needs anything, just ask the Apricot Blossom Tower Master to take care of it. I will come to the Apricot Blossom Tower to look for Brother Zhao during the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. Lu Wenlong cupped his hands and bowed. Goodbye. Ling Xiao smiled and said goodbye to Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinglun. I say, Miss Lin, is it really okay for you to secretly eavesdrop on other people's conversations? Ling Xiao looked towards a corner in the distance with a hint of a smile in his eyes. 1. There was a flash of light in the air, and a beautiful woman in a black dress appeared. She was looking at Ling Xiao with an unfriendly expression, and her breathing was a little hurried, causing her chest to rise and fall, outlining her soul-stirring perfect curves. It was the eldest daughter of the Lin family, Lin Shi. Zhao Ritian, the owner of those 3 golden holy badges, is indeed you. You actually dared to trick me? Lin Shi was so angry that her teeth itched as she glared at Ling Xiao. Trick you? Miss Lin, you can't say that, right? If it weren't for your beauty, how could my golden holy badges only be auctioned for 3 million drops of holy liquid? Since you are so heartless, you can't blame me for being unjust, right? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Very well. Zhao Ritian, I will remember you. I admit defeat. But you better be careful in the future. Don't fall into my hands. Lin Shi glared at Ling Xiao, then stomped her feet and left. Ling Xiao touched his nose and felt a little helpless. He had offended another great lady. Lin Shi's cultivation was very strong. She had already reached the 9th revolution half-saint realm. Moreover, she didn't look like a broad-minded person. Women were always a little narrow-minded. Ling Xiao returned to the Apricot Blossom Tower. Thunder Spirit King, this seal of mountains and rivers is indeed not simple. Ling Xiao opened the isolation array in the small courtyard. After carefully studying the seal of mountains and rivers, he suddenly exclaimed. The seal of mountains and rivers looked like a tool embryo. There was hope for it to be promoted to a flawless holy treasure. The main reason was that the material of the seal of mountains and rivers had already reached the level of a holy treasure. Moreover, there was a sleeping tool spirit in the seal of mountains and rivers. As long as the tool spirit was activated and the seal of mountains and rivers was continuously nurtured, the seal of mountains and rivers would be promoted to a flawless holy treasure in the future. However, Ling Xiao found that the material of the seal of mountains and rivers was very similar to the material of the cyclic sky seal. Moreover, the tool spirit in the seal of mountains and rivers was somewhat similar to the Thunder Spirit King. They both contained an extremely powerful Thunderway power. Master, the creator of the seal of mountains and rivers, O Yezi, I suspect that he might have seen the cyclic sky seal. Otherwise, how could he have forged the cyclic sky seal? Because the seal of mountains and rivers was originally an imitation of the cyclic sky seal. As long as I can devour the tool spirit of the seal of mountains and rivers, then integrate the seal of mountains and rivers into the cyclic sky seal, I will definitely become a sage. Thunder Spirit King said with incomparable excitement. It's hard to say whether O Yezi has seen the cyclic sky seal or not. Maybe he has seen the cyclic sky seal. Anyway, this is a pleasant surprise. You can start devouring the seal of mountains and rivers now and try to break through as soon as possible. Ling Xiao said slowly. Now, Thunder Spirit King had already reached the peak of the 9th transformation half-saint. He only needed an opportunity to break through completely. Moreover, after breaking through, Thunder Spirit King would be able to completely control the cyclic sky seal. Even if the original tool spirit of the cyclic sky seal, Second Holy Lord, came back, he would not be able to take control of the cyclic sky seal. Good. Master, let's leave Taishan City first and find an empty place in the wilderness. When I become a sage, although it won't really lead to the divine test, the cyclic sky seal will definitely undergo earth-shaking changes. At that time, I'm afraid that it will attract the attention of those who want to see it. Thunder Spirit King said. Good. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Now, in Taishan City, there were many pairs of eyes staring at Ling Xiao, watching his every move. However, Ling Xiao was not worried. He used his own spirit to leave a clone, and then used the sky-hiding secret skill to quietly leave Apricot Blossom Tower and go out of Taishan City. After leaving Taishan City, Ling Xiao flew all the way to the north. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, he stopped in an ancient mountain range. This mountain range had a radius of tens of thousands of miles. The chi of heaven and earth was very weak, so there were very few powerful demonic beasts in the mountain range. It was not a paradise. Few strong people came here. It was just a barren mountain with few people. Ling Xiao stopped in a valley, and then took out a lot of materials to set up a huge breath-concealing and defensive matrix, preparing for Thunder Spirit King's breakthrough. Thunder Spirit King had already devoured the seal of mountains and rivers with the cyclic sky seal. His spirit became unstable, and the cyclic sky seal began to shine with strange lights. The runes on the cyclic sky seal lit up, and an ancient and mysterious spirit spread out, slowly floating in the void. Ling Zhao's eyes showed a trace of expectation, waiting for the final transformation of the cyclic sky seal. At the same time, the old monk and the little monk Huining also left Taishan City and went all the way to the north, in the direction of this barren mountain. Chapter 1817. Boom. Ling Xiao could feel the endless chaotic light surging in the flipping sky seal. The mysterious world of death was trembling slightly. The seal of mountains and rivers was like a stream of light, merging into the flipping sky seal. It was as if it had been completely devoured by the flipping sky seal. The device spirit in the seal of mountains and rivers was a ball of purple lightning. Although it was very intelligent, there was a powerful seal that had not been opened. When the ball of purple lightning entered the flipping sky seal, it immediately began to absorb the endless chaotic chi. Its aura also became more and more terrifying. It is indeed the origin of thunder. The Thunder Spirit King's eyes were filled with surprise. He opened his mouth and swallowed the ball of purple lightning into his stomach. Bolts of lightning were dazzling. Thunder Spirit King was standing in the chaotic void. He was surrounded by endless lightning. His aura started to become extremely violent. It seemed that he had finally reached the critical point. At this moment, the Thunder Spirit King also found the opportunity to break through. With the help of the device spirit of the Seal of Mountains and Rivers, he began to advance towards the mysterious Sage Realm. If the Thunder Spirit King was still the original Thunder Spirit King, there would have been a divine trial at this moment. However, the Thunder Spirit King was now only the device spirit of the Flipping Sky Seal. The Flipping Sky Seal was originally a top holy treasure. His advancement seemed to have absorbed the power of the Flipping Sky Seal. He began to completely control the Flipping Sky Seal and become one with it. Boom! The void trembled slightly. Incomparably majestic energy gathered from all directions and surged towards the Flipping Sky Seal. Inside the Flipping Sky Seal, Thunder Spirit King's body was filled with holy power. Thunder light shone brightly. His entire being was in a mysterious state. Ling Xiao could clearly feel that the Thunder Spirit King had begun to ascend to the Saint Realm. The Flipping Sky Seal had undergone a mysterious change. The original black ancient seal began to flow with a brilliant light, and there were waves of mysterious waves spreading out in all directions. The Thunder Spirit King finally broke through. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He sat cross-legged in the valley and stared at the Flipping Sky Seal floating in the void. He was waiting for the final change of the Flipping Sky Seal. When the Thunder Spirit King and the Flipping Sky Seal completely merged into one, Ling Xiao would be able to use the power of the Flipping Sky Seal. At that time, he would be like the Scarlet Dragon war god from 1,000,000 years ago. Even saints could be slaughtered. In a vast expanse of chaotic void, a resplendent golden divine sun emitted an eternal light. Streams of golden flames flowed and looked dazzling. It turned into an incomparably bizarre scene that appeared in the chaotic void. Above the golden sun sat a young man in golden armor. He was handsome and heroic, and his skin was translucent like jade. The blood in his body surged like a river, containing extremely violent ripples of energy. His breathing was like thunder. Every time he breathed, he would devour the endless golden flames in the surroundings, causing his presence to become even more unfathomable. There was a golden flame mark between his eyebrows, making him look even more mysterious and dignified. Suddenly, he opened his eyes. There seemed to be two streams of divine flames in his eyes that pierced through the firmament, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. The golden divine sun turned into a stream of light and merged into his glabella, causing his presence to become even more unfathomable. Not bad. This is the 108th sun that you have devoured. With these 108th sun, it is enough for you to activate the Emperor Yen Cauldron. Even if a saint was standing in front of you now, he would be killed by you directly. An old voice came from the young man's body, with an extremely satisfied fluctuation. Second uncle, does this mean that we can return to the realm of the gods now? After staying here for so many years, I am about to die of boredom. Now that I have obtained the inheritance of the Emperor Yen, cultivated the Emperor Yen scripture and controlled the Emperor Yen cauldron, those so-called geniuses in the realm of the gods are a bunch of trash. Who can be my opponent? The young man in golden armor said proudly. His eyes were filled with excitement and anticipation. You are right. Ritian, your talent is the best that I have ever seen in my life. Your luck and opportunities are also unparalleled. Who would have thought that instead of entering the realm of the gods, we would find the ancient fire world, allowing you to obtain the inheritance of the Emperor Yen by chance. Soon, you will be able to become a saint and even have a glimpse of the legendary Great Emperor realm. It is not impossible. Second uncle also said with great emotion. Second uncle, this is all thanks to you. If you had not brought me out of the God of War world from the Universe River, I am afraid that I would still be in the God of War world, waiting for the door to the realm of the gods to open. Second uncle, don't worry, I, Zhao Ritian, will not let you down. I will sweep through all the worlds, be invincible, and become the Ritian Great Emperor. Zhao Ritian said emotionally. Ha! You are ambitious. You have spent more than 1,000 years in the ancient fire world to obtain the inheritance of the Emperor Yen. However, the flow of time in the ancient fire world is different from the realm of the gods. I am afraid that only a dozen years have passed in the realm of the gods. Although Ling Xiao has obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God, I am afraid that he is at most in the Heavenly God realm or even the Divine King realm. How can he be compared to you? Second uncle said with a smile. Zhao Ritian had obtained the inheritance of the Emperor Yen and devoured 108 sons. In the past 1,000 years, his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. He had reached the 7th Revolution half-saint realm. In the entire realm of the gods, those so-called geniuses are a bunch of trash. Only Ling Xiao is worthy of my attention. It is a pity that he did not have enough opportunities to be able to break through to the Heavenly God realm or even the Divine King realm in a dozen years. He is considered to be extremely talented. It seems like he is no longer worthy to be my opponent. Life is as lonely as snow. Zhao Ritian stood with his hands behind his back and smiled proudly. That's right. Although you have only broken through to the 7th Revolution half-saint realm, you will definitely be able to break through to the 9th Revolution half-saint realm once you have refined all the 108 sons and cultivated the Emperor Yen scripture to a small success. The Heaven's Choice Convention is about to begin. That is your real stage. This time, you must be the best in the Heaven's Choice Convention and become the chosen one. You must defeat all the geniuses in the universe and live up to the name of the Emperor Yen. Second uncle said. Alright. Let us return to the realm of the gods. Chapter 1818. Someone actually dared to take my treasure? Interesting. Second uncle suddenly said with surprise in his voice. Treasure? Second uncle, what treasure did someone take away from you? Zhao Ritian asked curiously. You won't know even if I tell you. My treasure is in the divine world. Let's go back to the divine world. I want to see who has the guts to take second uncle's treasure. Second uncle said with a cold smile. All right. Zhao Ritian nodded his head and let out a long howl. Instantly, a sun in the distance exploded. Endless flames spread out and a three-legged strange golden bird rushed out from it. It was emitting a ferocious aura. Its bloodline was ancient and mysterious, and its eyes were extremely sharp. However, it obediently stopped in front of Zhao Ritian. As Zhao Ritian leaped up and rode on the strange bird, the three-legged strange bird instantly turned into a golden stream of light. It directly broke through the void and disappeared into the vast expanse of heaven and earth. In the valley, the flipping sky seal was floating in the void, surrounded by endless chaotic light. Blazing lightning was emitted from it, ancient and mysterious. At this moment, Thunder Spirit King's aura was more than 10 times or even 100 times stronger than before. A vast and mysterious holy aura was emitted, causing the space in the flipping sky seal to undergo earth-shattering changes. A purple Thunder Dao fruit was floating above Thunder Spirit King's head. His aura was incomparably mysterious as he merged with the flipping sky seal, completely controlling all the power of the flipping sky seal. When Thunder Spirit King's aura calmed down, Ling Xiao quickly asked, How is it? Have you completely controlled the power of the flipping sky seal? Master, I have completed the promotion and can now control all the power of the flipping sky seal. Thunder Spirit King said in a low voice. But what? Ling Xiao asked. There is a core area in the flipping sky seal that I have never been able to step into. It is the area where the Extreme Emperor's aura is released. I suspect that the Flipping Sky Seal is not as simple as a holy treasure. Thunder Spirit King took a deep breath and said, "Not a holy treasure? Could it be?" Ling Xiao suddenly thought of something and could not help but tremble. That's right. How could an ordinary saint treasure possess such a powerful emperor's might? Even if it has the support of a great emperor, it should have dissipated after so many years. Therefore, I suspect that the Flipping Sky Seal is not a holy treasure at all, but an incomplete Extreme Dao Emperor weapon. Thunder Spirit King said slowly. His eyes were filled with excitement. An Extreme Dao Emperor weapon. In the era where great emperors were absent, it represented invincible and extreme power. Even if it was an incomplete Extreme Dao Emperor weapon, it was still extremely precious and its value could not be measured. Apex Emperor weapon. It is said that the Flipping Sky Seal is a replica of the Heaven Battling Seal. Is there a secret that we don't know about? Ling Xiao's body also trembled, his eyes filled with disbelief. That's hard to say. With my current cultivation, I can't enter the area with the Extreme Emperor pressure. If I want to completely control the Flipping Sky Seal, I'm afraid my cultivation will have to improve further. Thunder Spirit King sighed and said, "It's all right. Since the Flipping Sky Seal still has secrets that we don't know, let's explore them slowly. How much power can you unleash now?" Ling Xiao nodded and said, "The Flipping Sky Seal is extremely powerful. It can directly kill anyone below a saint. But if I want to deal with a saint, I must use the Extreme Dao Emperor pressure. With my current strength, I'm afraid I can only use the Extreme Dao Emperor pressure 3 times at most." Thunder Spirit King said slowly, 3 Extreme Dao Emperor pressure? It seems that even a real saint can be killed by it. Finally, I have the power to protect myself. Very good. Ling Xiao nodded with a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin. The Flipping Sky Seal turned into a stream of light and flew back into Ling Xiao's body. It even emitted a strange power that nourished Ling Xiao's body and made him stronger and stronger. Ling Xiao was about to return to Taixin City when he suddenly heard the sound of something breaking through the air in the distance. There was also the sound of fierce fighting, which caused the mountains in the distance to shake violently. Ling Xiao could not help but be startled. He immediately used the sky-shrouding secret skill and flew in the direction of the fighting. Boom! A mountain was directly shattered. Rocks flew everywhere, and heaven and earth trembled. A man covered in a black robe was fighting with a skinny old monk. Every blow was as if the sky was falling and the earth was splitting. The scene was extremely terrifying. However, the black-robed man's cultivation had already reached the peak of the 9th Revolution half-saint realm. The shriveled old monk's cultivation wasn't weak either. He was also at the 9th Revolution half-saint realm. However, he seemed to have suffered some kind of internal injury. Therefore, he wasn't able to erupt with a strong fighting strength. Huining, hurry up and leave. Don't worry about Master. The Prajna Temple depends on you in the future. The old monk roared. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Master, I'm not leaving. If we leave together. If we die together. A little monk stood below. He was chubby and cute. At this moment, he was wiping his tears and anxiously shouting, "Ha! Master, junior brother is right. How could he just abandon you and leave like this?" Chapter 18-19. Traitorous disciple, you betrayed your master, betrayed the Buddha, and joined the demonic path. Sooner or later, you will die a horrible death. The old monk angrily glared at the black-robed man. His eyes revealed a trace of despair. Master, are you all right? Senior brother Huixin, why did you harm Master? Don't you remember how Master taught you the Tao back then? The little monk Huining's face was covered in tears. He ran over and helped the old monk up. His eyes were filled with anger and sadness. The black-robed man's body trembled. His eyes revealed a trace of struggle. However, he immediately became cold and emotionless. Junior brother, as long as you hand over the great wisdom scripture, I promise I won't kill you. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Don't even think about it. The old monk's face was like gold paper. He revealed a trace of misery and determination. You don't know the difference between life and death. Since it's like this, then Great Wisdom Temple will be destroyed today. The black-robed man's eyes blazed with killing intent. He instantly pounced towards the old monk and little monk. The old monk was already an arrow at the end of its flight. He was on the verge of death. He had no way of resisting. He could only close his eyes in despair. 2 lines of tears flowed out. If he died, then he died. It was a pity that the inheritance of Great Wisdom Temple was cut off. Hui Ning was still young, so he had to die with him. Long. However, at this moment, a black streak of light was extremely fast. It instantly attacked the black-robed man. It contained an incomparably terrifying power. The black-robed man's expression couldn't help but change. He didn't dare take it head-on with his bare hands. He hurriedly took out a pure gold monk's blade. It exploded with an incomparably powerful holy aura as it chopped down towards the black streak of light. Kacha! A terrifying divine light exploded. The black-robed man felt as if he had collided with an incomparably hard ancient divine mountain. His entire body trembled violently. The monk's blade in his hand actually directly broke apart. That black streak of light was a small black seal. It directly smashed into the black-robed man's chest and sent him flying. A trace of blood flowed out of the black-robed man's mouth. He stared at the figure that flew over from the distance. It was a white-clothed youth. He was heroic and extraordinary. His aura was otherworldly. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were incomparably cold, containing a trace of intense killing intent. It was Ling Xiao. Defecting to the demon race, deceiving your master and destroying your ancestors, everyone has the right to punish you. How do you want to die? Ling Xiao stared at the black-robed man and said coldly. Ling Xiao originally didn't intend to meddle in other people's business, but when he found out that this black-robed man was actually a Buddhist disciple who had betrayed his master and ancestors, defected to the devil race, and turned around to kill his own master and junior brother, Ling Xiao was immediately enraged. The remnants of the demon race had deceived their master and destroyed their ancestors. No matter which one it was, they had to die. There was no room for negotiation. You are merely a second revolution half-saint. Do you really think that you can behave atrociously in front of me just because you have a powerful holy treasure? Brat, this saint treasure of yours is not bad. This seat will kindly accept it. The black-robed man sneered. Suddenly, his eyes flashed with murderous intent. A black golden demon subduing pestle appeared in his hand. It was heavy and ancient, radiating with powerful holy might. The black-robed man knew that the flipping sky seal was extraordinary, so he immediately took out a powerful holy treasure. That was the reason why the flipping sky seal had smashed the top semi-holy treasure. In his opinion, Ling Xiao was only a second revolution half-saint. He was relying on the power of a holy treasure. There was nothing to be afraid of. It's actually the War God Temple's flipping sky seal? Could it be that he is the new War God Temple master? The old monk's eyes revealed a trace of bewilderment as he muttered to himself. War God Temple's flipping sky seal? Master, can this benefactor defeat senior brother Huixin? If we can't beat him, then we'll all be in trouble. Hui Ning opened his cute big eyes and said with expectation and worry. Don't worry. With the flipping sky seal he won't lose. Hui Ning, remember, don't call Huixin senior brother in the future. He is a traitor. You must kill him in the future and take revenge for my Great Wisdom Temple. The old monk stared at Hui Ning and said. Suddenly he spat out a mouthful of blood. His chi became incomparably weak and he was on the verge of death. The old monk was already seriously injured. This time he used his life force to fight Huixin. In the end, his injuries worsened. He was already on the verge of death. He had been holding on until now, but after seeing Ling Xiao and Hui Ning safe and sound, he could not hold on any longer. Master, you can't die. If you die, what will I do? Master will. Hui Ning hugged the old monk. His face was full of tears. He cried so sadly that his face was a mess. Silly child, what joy is there in life? Why should I die? I just returned to the embrace of Buddha. If you can enter the 8-treasure lotus pond of virtue and virtue one day, maybe we will meet again. Hui Ning, follow him from now on. He should be a good person. The old monk smiled at Hui Ning. His face was full of kindness and reluctance. He rubbed Hui Ning's head. His qi became weaker and weaker. One. The old monk forced himself to sit down cross-legged. He put his palms together and lowered his head. He had a benevolent expression as he chanted, Avalokitesvara. Bodhisattva, when you walk deep in the Prajnaparamita, you see that the 5 skandhas are all emptiness. Sarira, form is not different from emptiness. Emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Feelings, thoughts, actions, and consciousness are all the same. As the old monk chanted, the surrounding space lit up with a resplendent Buddhist light. It was as if a door to the void had been opened. Flowers of the great Tao sprinkled down. The surrounding space shook. The old monk's body slowly turned into a rain of light. Sarira is the emptiness of all laws. It is neither born nor destroyed, neither dirty nor clean, neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore, there is no form in the air, no feelings, no thoughts, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no color, no sound, no smell, no touch. Therefore, the Prajnaparamita mantra is the mantra, Jedi Jedi, Bo Luo Jedi, Bo Luo Sing Jedi, Bodhisattvahi. As the old monk finished reciting the last sentence of the mantra, his whole body became crystal clear. In an instant, he turned into a resplendent rain of light and disappeared from the world. Amitba. Hui Ning put his palms together and softly chanted the mantra of Buddha. He was choking with sobs and tears were streaming down his face. Boom. Ling Xiao controlled the heaven-flipping seal and collided with Huixin's demon-subduing pestle. Instantly, Huixin was sent flying again. He directly smashed a human-shaped hole in the mountain wall far away. Huh. Chapter 1820. Old man, you would rather die than give me the Prajna Sutra? Very well. The black-robed man was furious and his face turned ghastly pale. He had intended to interrogate the primordial spirit of the old monk to find the whereabouts of the Prajna Sutra. However, he had not expected Ling Xiao to appear and the old monk would die. He had lost both his life and his wealth. You won't even let my master off. You really deserve to die. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent as he shouted in anger. In an instant, the flipping sky seal shone with boundless light. Boundless chaotic qi filled the air as if it was surrounding the 3,000 worlds. It came crashing down on the black-robed man. The Thunder Spirit King activated the Extreme Emperor's aura of the flipping sky seal. The flipping sky seal contained unparalleled power as if it was going to turn everything into dust. This is Extreme Emperor's aura? Or you? The black-robed man's face changed instantly and his eyes were filled with horror. Although he was terrified of the flipping sky seal, he was confident that he could contend with it. However, when the Extreme Emperor's aura of the flipping sky seal was activated, he instantly felt the threat of death as if he would be smashed into dust by the flipping sky seal at any time. Rumble! The flipping sky seal flew across the sky. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold and he did not answer the black-robed man's question. In his heart, the black-robed man had become a target to be killed. Such a traitor of the demon clan who had betrayed his master must die. Damn it! The black-robed man was locked in place and there was no way for him to dodge. His eyes were filled with cold, killing intent as he held the demon-subduing pestle. In an instant, all the terrifying power around him poured into the demon-subduing pestle. The Buddha's light and the demon's light intertwined, containing a terrifying power. Boom! The demon-subduing pestle and the flipping sky seal collided. In an instant, the Extreme Emperor's aura spread out and sent the demon-subduing pestle flying. Even the talismans on it were shattered. Although the demon-subduing pestle was a powerful holy treasure, it was far from being comparable to the flipping sky seal. Therefore, it was sent flying upon contact. The flipping sky seal was like an immemorial sacred mountain that pressed down. It seemed that no power could resist it. At this moment, the black-robed man felt that his strength was so insignificant, like an ant facing a divine dragon. He had no strength to resist at all. "I'll remember you. Brat, one day I'll kill you," the black-robed man roared as he glared at Ling Xiao. The murderous intent in his eyes was almost tangible. Rumble! The flipping sky seal fell and smashed the black-robed man into a bloody mist. He exploded completely, and even his primordial spirit was shattered instantly. It's just a clone?" Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He discovered that the primordial spirit of the black-robed man was not complete. It seemed that the black-robed man was still alive and still had some tricks up his sleeve. A mere doppelganger had the power of a 9th revolution half-saint. How strong was this black-robed man? Ling Xiao's heart trembled slightly. Ling Xiao saw that although the black-robed man was dead, a treasure had fallen from his body. It was not destroyed by the flipping sky seal. It was stored in a golden box covered with runes. "This box looks familiar." "This is..." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He suddenly recalled that the Enlightenment futon was stored in this golden box at the auction. But why did the black-robed man have the same golden box? Ling Xiao pondered for a moment. He directly destroyed the runes on the box with brute force and opened it. A bright green light bloomed. A green futon appeared in the golden box. It looked crystal clear and filled with a mysterious Taoist rhyme. It was the Enlightenment futon. Why is the Enlightenment futon in the black-robed man's hands? Could it be that he snatched it from Xiao Rui's hands? Ling Xiao was a little surprised and thought to himself. Xiao Rui had spent 50 million drops of sacred liquid to bid for the Enlightenment futon. It could be said that he had put in a lot of effort. Ling Xiao did not expect it to fall into the black-robed man's hands. Presumably, Xiao Rui was really in for a tragedy. However, this was also an unexpected surprise. Ling Xiao naturally did not hesitate to take it for himself and put it away. "Little monk, your master has already passed away. Don't be too sad. Cultivate well in the future. I believe that with your talent, you will definitely be able to avenge your master and kill that traitorous disciple." When Ling Xiao raised his head, he saw that the little monk was still sitting there. His small figure looked very frail and made one's heart ache. Ling Xiao could not help but sigh and walked over to help him up. "Benefactor, do you think I can still see my master?" "My master said that as long as I can enter the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Merit, there is hope to see him." Hui Ning raised his head and looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of hope. "Definitely. The 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Merit is rumored to be the Western paradise of Buddhism. As long as you are a Buddhist disciple, you will enter the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Merit to reincarnate after death. Your master should have gone there too." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "I will definitely go to the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Merit and bring my master back. Benefactor, can I follow you in the future?" The little monk opened his eyes wide and asked innocently. Ling Xiao originally wanted to refuse, but looking at the little monk's innocent and pure eyes, he could not help but feel his heart soften. He sighed softly and said, "Well, you will follow me in the future." Ling Xiao did not expect that when he came out of Taishan City, he would bring back another burden. The little monk's cultivation was not high. It seemed that he was only in the Divine King realm, but his physical body was extremely pure and had a kind of immortal fluctuation that even Ling Xiao could not see through. "Thank you, benefactor. I will definitely be obedient," the little monk said happily. "Well, now come back to Taishan City with me," Ling Xiao said with a headache. Then he took the little monk's hand and rose into the sky, heading toward Taishan City. In Taishan City, the Xiao family had gone crazy. Countless cultivators of the Xiao family were wantonly searching Taishan City. They even sent out a saint, which made the atmosphere of the entire Taishan City extremely tense. After the auction of the Treasure House of Fortune, Xiao Rui had just left the Treasure House of Fortune with the Enlightenment futon when he was knocked unconscious by a black-robed man who snatched the Enlightenment futon away. It should be known that Xiao Rui was a 7th revolution half-saint. He was very powerful and had many defensive treasures on him. Even a ninth revolution half-saint would find it difficult to knock him unconscious quietly and then snatch the Enlightenment futon away. The Shao family even suspected that it was done by the other three families or the immortal Holy Land, but the other three families all denied it. The Shao family had no evidence at all, and the black-robed man did not even leave a trace. Although the Shao family sent out a large number of cultivators to search everywhere, they did not find the whereabouts of the black-robed man. The Shao family and Shao Rui had become a complete laughingstock. After all, the Enlightenment futon, which they had spent 50 million drops of sacred liquid to buy, was snatched away as soon as it left the treasure house of fortune. This was simply a slap to the Shao family's face. Such arrogance did not take the Shao family or even the Pill Talisman Mountain seriously at all. Shao Rui was so angry that he vomited blood. He originally wanted to rely on the Enlightenment futon to win the Pill Talisman ceremony. Now it was all in vain. When Ling Xiao returned to Taishan City, he heard that Shao Rui had been knocked unconscious and that the Enlightenment futon had been snatched away. Was it really done by the black-robe man? To be able to knock Shao Rui out quietly and snatch the Enlightenment futon, this guy is really capable. A strange look appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. Chapter 1821. The Enlightenment praying mat that Shao Rui obtained with great difficulty was snatched away just like that, and the Shao family couldn't find any traces of that person. Not only did it make Shao Rui vomit blood from anger, the Shao family also became the laughingstock of everyone. Ling Xiao thought in his heart, if it wasn't for the Lightning Spirit King becoming a saint and completely controlling the power of the Flipping Sky Seal, it would be impossible to kill the black-robed person so easily. Hui Xin was originally a genius of our Sanskrit temple. His battle power was exceptional, and he was unrivaled in the same realm. But he was deranged and deceived his master, even master was killed by him. This little monk will definitely take revenge for master, the little monk said while choking with sobs. Alright, don't cry. As long as you train hard, there will definitely be a day when you can kill your enemy. Since Hui Xin was a disciple of Sanskrit temple, why would he be related to the demon race? Ling Xiao comforted Hui Neng and asked curiously. Although Hui Neng was master's disciple, he was proud and arrogant. He wanted to obtain the secret of the Great Wisdom Sutra. Through the little monk Hui Neng's explanation, Ling Xiao gradually understood the grudge between them and the black-robed person. So the black-robed person Hui Xin was the head disciple of the old monk Hong Ren. The old monk Hong Ren was the head of Sanskrit temple. Sanskrit temple was a branch of Buddhism. Although their strength wasn't strong, and even the old monk Hong Ren was only a 9th revolution half-saint, and hadn't become a saint yet, the Sanskrit temple's Great Wisdom Sutra was one of the supreme sutras of Buddhism. It was rumored that it contained heavenly secrets. But after countless years, not only Sanskrit temple, even the other monks couldn't understand the secret of the Great Wisdom Sutra. And after the old monk Hong Ren took Hui Xin as his disciple, he taught him with great care. Hui Xin's talent was also exceptional, and his cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds. He reached the 9th revolution half-saint realm, and was hailed as the hope of Sanskrit temple. However, Hui Xin was extremely ambitious. He always wanted to use the Prajna Sutra to prove his Tao, but no one was able to understand the secrets of the Prajna Sutra. Hui Xin even didn't hesitate to join the devil race and cultivate the devil path's divine arts and secret techniques. He tried in vain to combine the Buddhist and devil paths to comprehend the secrets of the Prajna Sutra. In the end, it caused his temperament to change greatly and he went mad. Hui Xin always thought that the old monk Hong Ren knew the secret of the Sanskrit Sutra, but didn't tell him. That was why, for the sake of obtaining the secret of the Sanskrit Sutra, Hui Xin didn't hesitate to seriously injure the old monk Hong Ren, killing several thousand people from Sanskrit temple. In the end, the old monk Hong Ren escaped with Hui Neng, but he was still pursued by Hui Xin. This time, it was likely that Hui Xin had found the Enlightenment Rush mat at the auction. Following the map, he found the old monk Hong Ren and Hui Neng's traces and chased after them. This person is truly insane. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with incomparably cold killing intent. Hui Xin's madness wasn't enough to describe his master and ancestors. Such a person was extremely terrifying. For the sake of his Tao, he could disregard everything. Killing his master and ancestors was just his way to prove his Tao. Killing his master to prove his Tao. This Huixin was definitely an extremely dangerous person. Ling Xiao saw the little monk take out Huixin's demon-subduing pestle. The demon-subduing pestle was a powerful saint treasure. After Ling Xiao killed Huixin, he gave it to the little monk. However, he saw the little monk take a bite out of the demon-subduing pestle after grabbing it. Crunch! A large piece of the demon-subduing pestle was bitten off by the little monk. Immediately, the little monk's body emitted a dazzling light. It was as if he was cast in gold. His aura also began to rise. Originally, the little monk's cultivation was only at the mid-stage divine king realm. However, as he devoured the power of the demon-subduing pestle, his cultivation began to rise. You actually ate a flawless saint treasure? Ling Xiao widened his eyes. His eyes were filled with disbelief. A flawless saint treasure was incomparably tough. It was even tougher than his current physical body. However, this little monk grabbed the flawless saint treasure and took a bite out of it. Just how sharp were the little monk's silver teeth? Seeing this scene, Ling Xiao was dumbfounded. I have been eating it all this time. Is there a problem? I want to eat more saint treasures so that I can become a saint as soon as possible and avenge my master. The little monk stared with his innocent eyes. Then, he took another bite out of the demon-subduing pestle. Crunch, crunch. After the little monk swallowed the demon-subduing pestle, his cultivation rose from the mid-stage divine king realm to the great divine king realm. Ling Xiao couldn't believe his eyes. What kind of freak did I meet? Ling Xiao wailed in his heart. That was a flawless saint treasure. It was swallowed by the little monk just like that. Most importantly, swallowing a saint treasure could increase one's cultivation. This was simply unheard of. Little husband, have you heard of a peerless physique called the Diamond Saint Physique? The Nether Tribe Heavenly Lady suddenly asked. Diamond Saint Physique? Could it be the peerless Diamond Saint Physique that is said to have an immortal body and unparalleled offensive power? Are you saying that this little monk has the Diamond Saint Physique? However, I have never heard that the Diamond Saint Physique can increase one's cultivation by swallowing saint treasures. Ling Xiao said in surprise. The Diamond Saint Physique cannot increase one's cultivation by swallowing saint treasures. At most, it can swallow some heaven and earth treasures and absorb the essence of heaven and earth to refine its body. However, above the Diamond Saint Physique, there is the Prajna Diamond Saint Physique, which is a secret Buddhist technique. Let alone swallowing heaven and earth treasures, all the innate gold essence in the world are its food. The more it swallows, the faster its strength will increase. Therefore, I suspect that this little monk has the legendary Prajna Diamond Saint Physique. The holy maiden of the Nether Tribe said with emotion. Prajna Diamond Saint Physique? It seems that I have really found a treasure. However, as far as I know, the current Arhat of the Myriad Buddha Temple has the Diamond Saint Physique, right? If they know that this little monk has the Prajna Diamond Saint Physique, won't they be greedy like wolves who have seen meat? Ling Xiao exclaimed in surprise. The current Arhat of the Myriad Buddha Temple was ranked at the top among the younger generation of the 12 immortal Holy Lands. It was said that he had already reached the 9th revolution half-saint realm. Like Huang Xuanzong, he was one of the top geniuses in the world. However, the little monk's talent was even stronger than the Arhat of the Myriad Buddha Temple. This was really hard to believe. That's right. Therefore, you must not expose the little monk's talent. If he swallows saint treasures in the future, don't let others find out. Once the Prajna Diamond Saint Physique matures, the Diamond Saint Physique will be nothing. The holy maiden of the Nether Tribe said slowly. Ling Xiao agreed with this very much. The little monk's talent was indeed extremely terrifying. He had reached the great perfection of God King just by devouring a demon-subduing pestle. This rate of improvement was even easier than eating or drinking. Chapter 1822. Taixin City, in the Lin family manor. There was a small bridge overflowing water, and the trees were shady. The pavilions were hidden in the forest, and it looked very peaceful. In a pavilion at the top of the mountain stood a woman in red clothes. She had a head of white hair and a tall figure. She gave off an extraordinary aura. She was wearing a black robe that wrapped around her beautiful body. She slowly walked into the pavilion. After seeing the woman in red, a strange look appeared in her eyes. She smiled and said, "Sister, although you can see the full view of Taishan City from here, you can't see the bustle of Taishan City. If you want, I can accompany you to Taishan City to have a look." "No need." "Senior Sister Lin, did you get the item?" The woman in red's voice was extremely cold. She slowly turned around, revealing a peerless face. The woman in red skin was like jade, and her face was flawless. It was as if she was the most perfect gift from the Creator. There was no flaw to be found on her body. In particular, her otherworldly and untainted temperament made She feel inferior. The heavens favored this woman a little too much. It was a pity that she was a little too cold. It was as if she maintained a sense of alienation from everyone. She suppressed the trace of emotion in her heart and smiled. "Sister Jean say, this is the Golden Holy Badge. But I am a little puzzled. With your status in the Taishang Palace, it should be easy for you to get the Golden Holy Badge, right? Why do you have to auction it off? I don't want to owe the Taishang Palace too much." Jean said calmly. "Why do you have to do this?" She sighed softly. She felt a little distressed. Although this woman looked as cold as ice, with her red clothes and white hair, and her heart wrapped up, from the first time she met her, she felt that Jean had a temperament that made her feel very distressed. "Senior Sister Lin, since the Golden Holy Badge has been obtained, I will go to the Void Saint World to cultivate for a while. In half a month, I will accompany you to the Alchemy Seal ceremony." Jean said slowly. Her eyes were indifferent and calm, like the frost that would not melt for thousands of years. "Okay. Then be careful." She wanted to say something but stopped. In the end, she sighed. Jean took the Golden Holy Badge and left, preparing to cultivate in the Void Saint World. At the same time, in the Apricot Blossom Tower, Ling Xiao was also preparing to bring the little monk into the Void Saint World. "Huineng, your cultivation has reached the great divine king realm. Although you are talented, you need to comprehend your own holy Tao true meaning in order to break through to the sage-to-be realm. You need to be well prepared. I hope you can make a breakthrough in the void sacred world. Don't waste this golden badge." Ling Xiao exhorted. "Thank you, big brother. This little monk will definitely not disappoint you." Huineng nodded repeatedly, his eyes filled with joy. Originally, he had been calling Ling Xiao benefactor. Later on, under Ling Xiao's request, he finally stopped calling him benefactor and temporarily called him brother. Ling Xiao also wanted to erase the traces of Buddhism on Huineng's body so that the Buddhist monks would notice it. If the great wisdom Vajra Saint physique was discovered, there would be endless trouble. "All right, let's go." Ling Xiao nodded and said, "Buzz." The golden badge was stuck between Ling Xiao and Huineng's eyebrows. Suddenly, the two of them were enveloped in a dazzling radiance. Ling Xiao and Huineng's consciousness seemed to have entered a mysterious chaotic void. Endless streams of light flickered around them and a vast and mysterious world appeared in front of them. Ling Xiao and Huineng's consciousness directly entered a dazzling vortex and entered the vast world. The Void Saint World. When Ling Xiao and Huineng opened their eyes, they were still at the starting ground of the Void Saint World. There were still many people at the starting ground. However, most of them were in the Divine Path realm. Although there were some in the Sage-to-be realm, there weren't many of them. Everyone was chatting in the square of the starting ground, purchasing various treasures and even forming teams to explore the secret lands of the Void Saint World. It was very lively. "Hey, kid, I haven't seen you for so long and you already have a child?" Ling Xiao and Huineng were still looking around curiously. Suddenly, an old voice was heard and Ling Xiao's face turned black. Turning around, a blind old Taoist was carrying a crippled monk on his back. The blind old Taoist had a wretched smile on his face. "Don't talk nonsense. This is my little brother. Why are the two of you in the Void Saint World every day? It seems like you have quite a lot of holy badges with you." Ling Xiao stared at the blind old man and the crippled old man suspiciously. These two old men seemed to be in the starting ground all the time and had never left. Hee, why don't you take a look at who we are? What's a mere holy badge to us? That's right, the crippled old man has always wanted to take you in as his disciple. Have you thought about it? If you miss this opportunity, you won't get another one. I advise you to grab this opportunity. The blind old Taoist chuckled. Suddenly, the crippled old Taoist's eyes lit up. He patted the blind old Taoist and pointed at Hui Neng. This little monk actually has the legendary Prajna Vajra sage body. Kid, you've been eliminated. The crippled old man said that he wants to take this little monk in as his disciple. Why aren't you asking this little monk to kneel down and acknowledge him as your master? The blind old Taoist's face was filled with excitement. You can tell? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He stared at the crippled old Taoist and said seriously. He felt more and more that the blind old Taoist and the crippled old Taoist were not simple. The blind old Taoist was extremely wretched. However, the crippled old Taoist was actually able to recognize that the little monk had the Prajna Vajra sage body. This made Ling Zhao's heart tremble. I already have a master. I don't want to acknowledge you as my master. Hui Ning seemed to be very afraid of the crippled old Taoist and hid behind Ling Xiao. That's right. Hui Ning is the successor of the Prajna temple. Master, it's impossible for him to acknowledge you as his master. If there's nothing else, we'll leave first. Ling Xiao slowly said. Buzz. At this moment, a strange sound wave spread out from the crippled old Taoist body. It emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. It was like an ancient scripture. Ling Xiao and the little monk couldn't help but tremble. Although Ling Xiao didn't understand it, he could feel that the ancient scripture was very similar to the scripture that the old Taoist Hong Ren chanted when he was transforming into the Tao. The little monk looked at the crippled old Taoist with incomparable excitement and said, You. This is the Prajna scripture. Only our Prajna temple's people know it. Ling Xiao also stared at the crippled old Taoist and a thought appeared in his mind. The blind old Taoist lightly sighed and said, Because the crippled old Taoist is also a member of the Prajna temple. Little monk, being able to acknowledge the crippled old Taoist as your master is your fortune. Moreover, your Prajna Vajra sage body is something that only the crippled old Taoist has the qualifications to teach you. Chapter 1823. What? Ling Xiao and the small monk looked at each other, their eyes revealing a trace of disbelief. Cripple still didn't say anything. He calmly looked at Ling Xiao and the small monk, his body releasing a sparkling radiance. The golden multicolored light was resplendent, and in that instant, his entire body seemed to have been cast in gold, sparkling and translucent, containing an ancient and terrifying energy fluctuation. However, no one in the plaza seemed to have noticed such a large commotion. Blind and cripple had a mysterious power on their bodies, and like a barrier, it enveloped Ling Xiao and the small monk, isolating them from everything. However, after Ling Xiao saw the changes on Cripple's body, he was also a bit shocked. He stared at Cripple in disbelief and said, This is Prajna Diamond Saint Body. The fluctuations emitted from Cripple and the small monk's bodies were simply the same. Cripple used to have the Prajna Diamond Saint Body, and used to be the head of Prajna Temple. His name is Prajna, little guy, have you heard of him? Blind put away his extremely wretched expression, and became serious. Prajna. The founder of my Prajna temple is Prajna Ancestor. From then on, in order to avoid the founder's name, no one dared to use the name Prajna. Could it be that you are? The small monk opened his eyes wide, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Even though Prajna Temple's strength couldn't be considered too powerful, it could still be considered a Buddhist sect. It was rumored that when Buddha passed down his teachings, he left behind 84,000 techniques, and the Prajna technique was the most special and mysterious technique. Prajna Ancestor had once listened to the teachings of Buddha, and obtained the Prajna scripture passed down by Buddha, establishing the Prajna temple. Not only was Prajna Ancestor's Buddhist teachings profound, He also possessed the unparalleled Prajna Diamond Saint body. His battle prowess overflowed into the heavens, making Prajna Temple extremely powerful in the entire Buddhist sect. However, later on, after ancestor Hanya mysteriously disappeared, Hanya Temple declined. The small monk was the only successor of Prajna Temple, so he naturally knew about Prajna ancestors' deeds. Now that he heard that the cripple monk in front of him was actually the legendary Prajna ancestor, it was no different from a character from a legend, so he naturally found it hard to accept. Cripple is Prajna, and the first person to possess the Prajna Diamond Saint body in Prajna Temple. Blind said slowly. His voice was extremely calm. Are you really Patriarch Hanya? Then why are you in the void sacred world? Why have you not returned to the temple? What on earth happened? The little monk was incomparably excited and his eyes were filled with doubt. Ling Zhao's eyes were also filled with doubt. Even a traitor like Huixin appeared. The little monk's face was full of grief. He narrated how Huixin betrayed the Prajna Temple and killed the old monk Hong Ren. You all have no way of comprehending the secrets of the Prajna Sutra. That is because what you all obtained wasn't the complete Prajna Sutra. In this world, perhaps other than the 10,000 Buddha temple, only Prajna knows the complete Prajna Sutra. That Huixin you speak of is indeed deranged, but he will never be able to comprehend the secrets of the Prajna Sutra. Little monk, if you want to take revenge for your master, or even rebuild the Prajna temple, taking Prajna as your master is indeed your best choice. Blind slowly said. I already have a master, so I won't take any other master. I believe that with my abilities, I can also take revenge for my master and rebuild the Prajna temple. The little monk said with incomparable stubbornness. Ling Zhao let out a light sigh, but didn't try to persuade him any further. If it was anyone else, they might have already kneeled down and taken him as their master without any hesitation. After all, he was the ancestor. Even taking him as his master wasn't a problem, let alone the great opportunities and natural luck that were hidden within. However, the little monk refused him so straightforwardly. He had a pure and innocent heart, naive and pure. Even hatred couldn't corrupt him, so this type of stubbornness seemed even more precious. Prajna ancestor stared at the little monk without saying a word, his eyes deep and calm. The little monk also stubbornly raised his head, but his eyes were clear and pure, revealing a hint of reverence and nervousness. Chapter 1824. Patriarch Ban Ruo suddenly smiled and lowered his head. His smile seemed to be able to infect heaven and earth. It was like the moment when Buddha enlightened all living beings, boundless light surged out. It was a smile that came from the bottom of his heart. Blind was also slightly surprised. In the end, he looked at the little monk and said, Ban Ruo said that even if you don't take him as your master, he will still teach you. Maybe you can go further than him because your heart is purer than his. Although the little monk was a little confused, he still knelt down respectfully and said, Huining greets the patriarch. Thank you for imparting me the Dharma. Ling Zhao had some understanding in his heart. The lineage of Ban Ruo Temple seemed to be the true representative of the Heart Buddha sect. They emphasized the cultivation of the heart. The diamond saint physique was the heart and the diamond was the physical body. One inside and one outside, one still and one moving. This was the supreme state of diamond indestructible. That was why Patriarch Ban Ruo revealed such a smile when he saw the pure heart of the little monk. Little friend, during this period of time, Ban Ruo will impart the Dharma to Hui Neng in the Void Saint world. You can do as you wish. However, Hui Neng still needs to cultivate in the divine world. In the future, please bring Hui Neng away. In return, Ban Ruo agrees to tell you a secret realm of the ancient sages. How about it? Blind looked at Ling Zhao and said with a smile, There's such a good thing? Of course I'm willing. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up as he said with a smile. Even if Blind and Cripple didn't give him any benefits, he definitely wouldn't abandon the little monk. However, he would be a bastard if he didn't take advantage of the situation. Blind and Cripple had stayed in the Void Saint world for God knows how many years. They might even be one of the ancient sages. They definitely knew a lot of secrets in the Void Saint world. If they were willing to tell Ling Xiao about the secret realm of the ancient sages, it was naturally for the best. The ancient sages had thousands of divine abilities and tens of thousands of wondrous techniques. I see that your physical body is strong. Why don't I tell you a secret realm of the ancient sages? Blind looked at Ling Xiao and said, "The method of establishing a sage through the physical body?" Ling Xiao's eyes lit up and couldn't help but ask. Blind laughed bitterly and said, "How difficult is it to establish a sage through the physical body? In a great world, there might not even be a single body saint. Furthermore, the body saint cultivation arts were different from each other, and each path was different as well. However, the sage I'm talking about, although he failed in his attempt to become a physical sage, his physical body was still considered invincible. He should be of some use to you. Then forget it. Why don't you tell me the secret realm of a Pildao sage?" Ling Xiao smiled. If it wasn't for his physical sanctification, it wouldn't be of much use to him. His ancestral dragon secret skill and myriad tribulations indestructible saint technique were top-notch physical body techniques. Therefore, Ling Xiao wasn't interested in the saint's secret territory that blind man mentioned. On the contrary, Ling Xiao had become much more interested in the Tao of Pills after reading many books on the Tao of Pills in the Alchemy Library of the Alchemy Academy. If he could find a secret realm of a saint of pills, then perhaps his attainments in the Tao of Pills would skyrocket. Alchemy Saint's mystic realm? Not to mention, there really was a Pildao Saint's secret realm that was about to appear. Moreover, that Pildao Saint was extremely famous even in the ancient times. Many saint kings and imperial monarchs scrambled madly for the pills that he refined. However, that place is filled with danger. Once it appears, I'm afraid that it will attract many experts. Are you sure you want to go? Blind asked. Even saint kings and imperial emperors flock to it. Who is that saint of pills? I really want to see it. Ling Xiao was instantly interested. The Origin Pill Saint. The Origin Pill Saint was famous in ancient times. Not only can the Origin Pill that he created help people become saints, but the Origin Daluo Pill can also help saints break through to the next realm. It's even useful for saint kings to break through to the quasi-emperor realm. Its power is terrifying. The Origin Sacred Fire can burn the heavens and destroy the earth. It can be ranked at the top of the saints of ancient times. Blind said slowly, "The Origin Pill Saint? Where is the secret realm that he left behind?" Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. It sounded like the Origin Pill Saint was extremely powerful. If he could obtain his inheritance, it would be of great help to his performance at the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. It's in Mount Hunyuan. However, you have to hurry, because according to my calculations, the Origin Pill Saint's secret realm will be completely open soon. At that time, countless experts will be alarmed. Even saints will be interested in the Origin Pill Saint's inheritance. With your insignificant cultivation, I'm afraid there won't be anything left of you. Blind said. Then, a resplendent light shot toward Ling Xiao and fused into his sea of consciousness. It turned into a torrent of information that introduced the situation of Mount Primordial Chaos and Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint in detail. "Thank you," Ling Xiao said with a smile. He immediately bade farewell to the little monk and headed toward Mount Hunyuan. Looking in the direction that Ling Xiao left, Blind's face revealed a strange expression. He said slowly, "This kid is not simple. If we can form a good relationship with him, it might be of great use to us." Cripple waved his hand. His eyes were deep and calm. "I know that his cultivation is still weak and time waits for no one. However, I still hope that he can improve his cultivation as soon as possible." Blind said faintly. The little monk's face was full of confusion. He did not understand what Blind and Cripple were talking about. However, after Ling Xiao left, Blind and Cripple quickly brought the little monk out of the starting ground. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. There were so many people in the starting ground, but no one noticed when Blind and Cripple disappeared. Mount Hunyuan. I hope the Origin Pill Saint's inheritance is still there and no one else has gotten it first. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Although the golden sacred badge between his eyebrows was dense with light and could not conceal his aura, he still used the heaven-shrouding secret technique to conceal his aura. His appearance also became extremely blurry. His entire person turned into a stream of light and shot toward Mount Hunyuan. In the Void Saint world, there were ancient and majestic mountains everywhere. Ancient trees towered into the sky and precious herbs were everywhere. Everywhere was exuding a desolate and ancient aura. It was as if it was an ancient mythological period. It was filled with a mysterious chaotic aura. This place was very real. It was so real that Ling Xiao could not tell what kind of existence the Void Saint world was. Legend has it that the Void Saint world covers the 3,000 great worlds. However, other than the last time I saw Long Xiao Xiao and the experts from the demon race, I rarely see experts from other worlds. It seems that the Void Saint world still hides many secrets that I do not know. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he flew and sensed and observed the Void Saint world. Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast, especially after breaking through to the Sage-to-Be realm. When he used the teleportation secret technique, there was a feeling of the great void teleportation. He flew thousands of miles in an instant. Soon, he flew across hundreds of thousands of miles of vast land and approached Mount Hunyuan. Chapter 1825. It's him. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat when he saw a few sneaky figures moving through the forest. Although they had concealed their auras, Ling Xiao still recognized them. It was Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun was dressed in black, and he carried a strange saber on his back. His figure was extremely vigorous, and two old men with obscure auras followed behind him. They were slowly passing through the forest and approaching a mountain range in front of them, as if they were chasing after a target. Xiao Yun's cultivation was still at the 5th Revolution Half-Saint realm, but the two old men with concealed auras had already reached the 7th Revolution Half-Saint realm. Ling Xiao could keenly sense that they were emitting a faint killing intent. Ling Xiao thought for a moment and quietly followed them. "Young master, are we really going to attack that woman? She is the Holy Maiden of the Supreme Tao Palace. Although she is only at the 1st Revolution Half-Saint realm, it's inevitable that she doesn't have a flawless saint treasure. Once those lunatics from the Supreme Tao Palace discover her, I'm afraid our Xiao family will be in great trouble." A black-robed old man asked hesitantly. Xiao Yun sneered and said, "So what if she is the Holy Maiden of the Supreme Tao Palace? Remember, it's not that we want to kill her, but that someone from the Supreme Tao Palace doesn't want her to live. This Saint's Soul Annihilation rune specifically targets the primordial spirit. It can even seriously injure a saint. No matter what trump card she has, she will definitely die. Later, you guys will surround her, and I will find an opportunity to kill her in one fell swoop." The two black-robed old men looked at each other and nodded. Although the woman's identity was extraordinary, she was only at the 1st Revolution Half-Saint realm. It wouldn't be difficult for the three of them to kill her. The speed of the three of them was extremely fast. Very quickly, they passed through the forest and arrived at the top of an ancient mountain. There was a red-clothed woman on the mountain peak. Her clothes fluttered like a burning cloud. Her temperament was extraordinary, and she stood aloof from the world. However, she had a head of long white hair that danced in the wind. Her back was facing Xiao Yun and the other two, as if she didn't know that they were approaching. The sea of clouds in front of her was ethereal. Looking into the distance, one could see a golden sun rising out of the sea of clouds in the distance, shining golden rays of light. Xiao Yun and the other two looked at each other, and killing intent flashed in their eyes. They were about to pounce at the woman in red. "You guys are too slow." A clear and cold voice rang out, causing the expressions of Xiao Yun and the other two to involuntarily change. Their figures also came to a halt. "Are you waiting for us here? How did you discover us?" A sharp glint flashed in Xiao Yun's eyes as he stared at the woman in red. His expression became serious. The woman in red slowly turned her head. Her peerless appearance made everyone sigh in admiration of the creator's favoritism. Her otherworldly temperament made people feel inferior. It was too perfect. This was Xiao Yun and the other two's first impression. However, there was no emotion in that pair of resplendent eyes. They were deep and indifferent, as if they were cold to the bone. As for Ling Xiao, who was following them from afar, his mind instantly exploded. Jinx! Ling Xiao's entire body was trembling, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He had never imagined that he would meet Jinx in such a manner in the Void Saint world. How could Ling Xiao not miss Jinx when she entered the Taishangdao Palace? If it was possible, how could he have sent Jinx into the Taishangdao Palace? However, only the Taishangdao scripture of the Taishangdao Palace could restore Jinx to her original state and allow her to recall her past memories. Ling Xiao knew that the Taishangdao Palace was in the Taiching Sky domain, but he didn't even dare to come to the Taishangdao Palace to see Jinx. He was afraid that the Taishangdao Palace would discover his secret with Jinx. Therefore, Ling Xiao could only suppress the deep longing in his heart. At the same time, he hoped that Jinx would be able to reverse the Taishang emotionless Dao and turn it into the Dao of emotions, allowing her to recall her past. However, now that Ling Xiao saw Jinsei again, he could no longer suppress his longing for Jinsei, and it all gushed out. Ling Xiao seemed to have forgotten everything at that moment. There was only that red-clothed, white-haired figure in his eyes that had turned into eternity. "You're here to kill me, right? Then hurry up and do it. I still have other things to do. Don't waste my time," Jinx said calmly as she looked at Xiao Yun and the other two. "Arrogant. So what if you're the saintess of the Taishangdao Palace? You're just a first revolution half-saint. How dare you speak so arrogantly? Today will be the day you die. Kill her." Xiao Yun's eyes turned cold as he roared. "Bush, bush." The two old men's eyes were filled with murderous intent as they charged towards Jinx. Powerful saintly auras erupted from their bodies, causing their auras to become cold and dark. A long sword appeared in each of their palms. Millions of rays of sword light blossomed in the void and enveloped Jinx. Ling Xiao's eyes instantly turned blood red. Terrifying energy gushed out from his body as he shot out like a bolt of golden lightning. His voice was incomparably cold as it exploded in the void. You deserve to die." Ling Xiao would never allow anyone to harm Jinx. Jinx was the only person who could make him lose all reason and disregard everything else. Rumble. The flipping sky seal flew out from Ling Xiao's body. It was ancient and mysterious. Chaotic energy filled the air as if it could suppress 3,000 worlds. It had an invincible aura that could destroy stars and turn everything into dust. Ling Xiao grabbed the flipping sky seal and instantly appeared on top of the mountain, suppressing the two old men. "Zhao Ritian? What are you doing here?" Xiao Yun's body trembled as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Jinx also saw Ling Xiao and a strange look appeared in her eyes. She seemed to have thought of something and was slightly confused. Boom. Ling Xiao didn't even bother with Xiao Yun. The flipping sky seal was like an immemorial sacred mountain that contained an energy fluctuation that could suppress everything. It directly shattered all the rays of sword light in the sky. The two old men felt the terrifying energy from the flipping sky seal and couldn't help but turn pale. They no longer cared about dealing with Jinx. Two ancient swords bloomed with blazing light as they charged towards the flipping sky seal. The two old men still didn't feel safe and spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. The aura of the two ancient swords soared several times. The sword light was incomparably sharp as if it could even shatter the heavens and the earth. Rumble. The flipping sky seal fell and collided with the two ancient swords. Unparalleled divine energy exploded and the two ancient swords exploded. It was as if they couldn't even stop the flipping sky seal for a moment. The flipping sky seal didn't slow down. Its speed was extremely fast as it suppressed the two old men in despair. Chapter 1826. Buzz. The two old men were killed by Ling Xiao. However, the two silver holy badges between their eyebrows shone brightly and wrapped around their primordial spirits to leave the Void Saint world. Devour! Ling Xiao had expected this. With a flash in his eyes, he activated the wordless heavenly book and the sky-devouring secret skill. Suddenly, a terrifying power erupted. Before the silver holy badges disappeared, it turned into a devouring vortex and devoured the 2 silver holy badges and the primordial spirits of the 2 old men. Ling Xiao was not afraid of exposing the wordless heavenly book to Xiao Yun. After all, Xiao Yun was already a dead man in Ling Xiao's eyes. Is that the flipping sky seal? You are not Zhao Ritian. You are Long Outyin of the War God Temple? When Xiao Yun saw that Ling Xiao had used the cyclic sky seal to kill the 2 old men, he seemed to have thought of something. He could not help but exclaim in shock. His eyes were filled with an extremely ugly expression. Xiao Yun did not expect that the countless experts in the god world were looking for Long Outyin. In the end, this brat changed his name to Zhao Ritian and hid in Taixin City. Bingo! However, you still have to die. Ling Xiao laughed coldly. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. Xiao Yun dared to attack Jin Se. In Ling Xiao's mind, Xiao Yun was already on his must-kill list. Boom! The flipping sky seal shone brightly. In an instant, it turned into a stream of light and flew towards Xiao Yun. A terrifying power erupted. The power that could suppress everything made it impossible for Xiao Yun to dodge. Long Outyin, go to hell! Xiao Yun's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He activated the soul-destroying holy charm in his palm. It turned into a black light and shot towards Ling Xiao's forehead. This soul-destroying holy charm was originally prepared to deal with Jin Se. Now that Xiao Yun saw Ling Xiao, it could be said that the new enmity and the old hatred had all erupted. The soul-destroying holy talisman was activated and turned into a black soul-destroying holy light. Its speed was extremely fast. In an instant, it arrived in front of Ling Xiao's glabella and entered it. It wanted to destroy his primordial spirit directly. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel the terrifying power contained in the soul-destroying saint light. If he was really an ordinary sage to be, he would probably die in the soul-destroying saint light. His soul would be completely destroyed and he would not be able to leave the void saint world alive. However, Ling Xiao was least afraid of such attacks. The wordless heavenly book flashed and swallowed the soul-destroying holy light as if it had opened its mouth. However, Ling Xiao's expression did not change. He continued to control the flipping sky seal to attack Xiao Yun. What? How can you block the soul annihilation holy symbol? Xiao Yun's expression changed drastically, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. When the soul-extinguishing holy light entered Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, it was like a clay ox entering the sea. It didn't have any effect at all. Xiao Yun couldn't figure out why. There are still many things you can't imagine, Ling Xiao said coldly. The flipping sky seal rumbled and pressed down. The vast divine path light around Xiao Yun exploded. He seemed to be about to die under the flipping sky seal. Long Outyin, I will remember you. Just you wait. You will never leave Taixin City alive. Xiao Yun roared angrily. His voice was filled with unwillingness. He was not afraid of anything. After all, even if he died in Ling Xiao's hands, he wouldn't really die. His primordial spirit would automatically leave the void saint world and return to his physical body. Boom! Xiao Yun's body directly exploded, turning into a bloody mist. In front of the flipping sky seal, even his 2 subordinates couldn't block it, let alone Xiao Yun. The silver holy badge between his eyebrows wrapped around his primordial spirit. It was also about to leave the void saint world. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a cold look. Instantly, the wordless heavenly book bloomed with a vast light and swallowed the silver holy badge and Xiao Yun's primordial spirit. Ling Xiao naturally couldn't leave any trouble for himself. If Xiao Yun really left just like that and his identity was exposed, there would be endless trouble. Ling Xiao had tried before. The wordless heavenly book could resist the will of the void saint world and swallow the primordial spirit protected by the silver holy badge. However, if it was the owner of the golden badge, even if Ling Xiao activated the wordless heavenly book, he wouldn't be able to kill him completely. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being unlucky. Rumble. Dark clouds rolled in the void and thunder rumbled. A vast worldly law descended. The holy badges were formed by the will of the void saint world. Ling Xiao swallowed 3 silver holy badges in succession. It was as if he was challenging the will of the heavenly path of the Void Saint World. It immediately angered the Void Saint World. How troublesome! Ling Xiao looked at the lightning that was about to fall from the void. He immediately used the heaven-shrouding secret skill and separated himself from the Void Saint World. It was as if he had turned into an ordinary mountain rock in the Void Saint World. The lightning in the void circled for a while but couldn't detect any aura from Ling Xiao. In the end, it dispersed unwillingly. Swoosh! Ling Xiao's figure flashed and appeared in front of Jin Sei. "Jin Sei, long time no see," Ling Xiao said with a smile. He suppressed the excitement and joy in his heart and pretended to be calm. "Long time no see," Jin Sei said indifferently. Her eyes were still incomparably cold, without any fluctuations of emotion. Even though Ling Xiao had told her everything in the past, the current Jin Sei was like a block of ice, exuding a mysterious aura of indifference. She had no memories of the past, no feelings, and no impression of Ling Xiao. Her heart was only filled with the supreme path of cultivation. Ling Xiao felt bitter when he saw Jin Sei's current state. However, he regained his composure after a while. Although Jin Sei had forgotten everything about him, as long as Jin Sei continued to cultivate, she would be able to cultivate the Tao of emotions one day and recover her past memories. The Tao of unruffled emotions and the Tao of emotions are said to be derived from the secret skill of Yin Yang of the Taishang Palace. If I can obtain the secret skill of Yin Yang and impart it to Jin Sei, she might be able to comprehend the Tao of emotions faster? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Jin Sei, where are you heading to? If you have nothing to do, why don't you explore a secret place with me? That place is the land of inheritance of a sage. If you can obtain his inheritance, your cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Ling Xiao suppressed his thoughts and said with a smile. No matter what, being able to be with Jin Sei was the happiest thing in Ling Xiao's life. I'm also planning to train in the Void Saint World for a period of time. I don't have a specific goal for now. Where is the land of inheritance of the sage that you mentioned? Jin Sei's eyes flashed as she asked plainly. The land of inheritance I mentioned is in the chaotic Yuan Mountain. It's the land of inheritance of the chaotic Yuan Pill Saint from ancient times. Not only was the chaotic Yuan Pill Saint extremely accomplished in the Tao of Pills, but he was also extremely powerful. I already know how to enter the chaotic Yuan Mountain. Why don't we explore it together? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Jin Sei pondered for a moment and nodded plainly. Sure. Chapter 1827. Taixin City. In a manner of the Xiao family, Xiao Rui looked at the secret chamber in front of him. His eyes were filled with rage. In the secret chamber, Xiao Yun and 2 black-robed elders were sitting cross-legged. Their glabella was cracked, and their eyes were filled with horror. There was no sign of life. They were already dead. Xiao Rui had Xiao Yun's life token. Today, he suddenly found that Xiao Yun's life token was broken. He immediately rushed to the secret chamber where Xiao Yun was in seclusion to check and saw this scene. First young master, second young master has gone to the illusionary saint world. Even a saint would rarely be able to kill second young master in the illusionary saint world. Only a few legendary treasures would be able to do so. Could it be that Saintess Jin Sei has such treasures? Behind Xiao Rui, a 9th Revolution half-saint in a black robe said slowly with divine light flashing in his eyes. No matter what, Jin Sei has to die. So what if she is the saintess of the Taishang Palace? She dared to leave the Taishang Palace alone. Who knows how many people want her life? Uncle Tong, follow me to the Void Saint World. I really want to see what Jin Sei is capable of. Xiao Rui's voice was bone-chilling and filled with murderous intent. He had secretly instructed Xiao Yun to enter the Void Saint World to kill Jin Sei, but he did not expect such a thing to happen. The hatred in his heart reached its peak. He had already determined that Jin Sei was the murderer of Xiao Yun. Mount Hunyuan was a very ordinary mountain. It was located in an ancient mountain range. It looked to be only a few thousand feet tall. The peak was lush, and ancient trees towered into the sky. Clouds filled the air, and it looked very peaceful. If Ling Xiao had not obtained the specific location of Mount Hunyuan from the blind Taoist, he would not have believed that this was the secret realm left behind by the origin alchemy saint. Ling Xiao, is the secret realm you mentioned here? I don't feel any powerful spatial or array fluctuations. Jin Sei and Ling Xiao walked side by side. They stepped on the void and flew toward Mount Hunyuan. For some reason, Jin Sei felt that Ling Xiao was both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time, causing ripples to appear in her calm heart. That's right. This is the mystic realm left behind by the primordial chaos pill saint. The reason why we can't sense any powerful array formations or spatial fluctuations is because the primordial chaos mountain is just a door, and the mystic realm is within the primordial chaos mountain. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He was always in a good mood when he was with Jin Sei. He seemed to recall the first time he had brought Jin Sei back from the Origin Sea and traveled the War God's world with her. Although the scene was brief, it was incomparably beautiful. Jin Sei nodded and didn't say anything else. She just let Ling Xiao lead the way, and they arrived at a valley in Mount Primordial. The valley was very quiet and secluded. In the deepest part of the valley, there was a waterfall that flowed down 3,000 feet. It fell into a deep pool at the bottom, creating huge waves. The primordial chaos pill saint's mystic realm is in this deep pool. Jin Sei, follow me. I'll open the door to the secret realm. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he smiled. One had to admit that the blind Taoist was very generous. He told Ling Xiao all the detailed information about the primordial chaos pill saint's mystic realm, including the method to open the door. The primordial chaos pill saint had left this mystic realm for him to choose his successor. Therefore, before the mystic realm was fully opened, one had to crack the door to the mystic realm to enter. Ling Xiao and Jin Sei leapt into the deep pool, as though a path had appeared in front of them. Ling Xiao and Jin Sei leapt into the pool. Ling Xiao and Jin Sei dived down for thousands of feet and finally arrived at the bottom of the pool. They saw an extremely old stone tablet at the bottom of the pool. There were two faint ancient characters on it. Primordial Chaos. This primordial chaos ancient tablet is the door to the mystic realm. However, it contains countless alchemy restrictions. Only by cracking the primordial chaos ancient tablet can we enter the mystic realm. Jin Sei, protect me, I'll break the restriction. Ling Xiao said to Jin Sei, all right. Jin Sei nodded and began to examine the stone tablet in front of her. Buzz. Ling Xiao sat down with his legs crossed. A bright light flashed between his eyebrows. Instantly, a powerful spiritual wave surged into the primordial chaos ancient tablet. The primordial chaos ancient tablet buzzed and trembled. The surface of the tablet began to peel off, revealing a dazzling light. It was as clear as a crystal, and there were mysterious patterns on it. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit seemed to have entered another world. In front of him were dense and powerful restrictions. They were all questions related to alchemy and contained the essence of alchemy. Only those who had a deep understanding of alchemy would be able to crack the restrictions and open the door to the mystic realm to enter. Even a 9-star alchemy grandmaster would find it difficult to solve these alchemy questions. The primordial chaos pill saint standards for choosing his successor are really high. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. However, these alchemy Dao restrictions weren't difficult in Ling Zhao's eyes. He had his heart realm. These alchemy Dao restrictions were formed by the fusion of the alchemy Dao origin and the laws of heaven and earth. In Ling Zhao's heart realm, these alchemy Dao restrictions didn't have any secret and could be easily resolved. Rumble! Not long after, the primordial chaos ancient tablet shone brightly. A gorgeous door of light appeared in front of Ling Xiao and Jin Sei. It was ancient and mysterious, as if it led to another world. The door to the mystic realm has been opened. Let's go. Ling Xiao opened his eyes and smiled at Jin Sei. He walked into the door of light with her. Gotcha! Just as Ling Xiao and Jin Sei entered the door of light, the primordial chaos ancient tablet trembled violently. The runes on it exploded and turned into a dazzling divine light that shot into the sky. Boom! In the sky above the primordial chaos mountain, there seemed to be a divine pillar that reached the sky. It was ancient and mysterious, containing an incomparably mysterious aura. In an instant, it spread out in all directions. Ling Xiao, who had already entered the mystic realm, could not help but feel a slight change in his expression. He quickly said to Jin Sei, "Not good. It seems like the primordial chaos mystic realm is about to be completely opened. Let's go. Otherwise, more and more experts will come. When the time comes, a fierce battle will be inevitable." Just how many treasures were there in the cave of a pill saint? Perhaps even a true saint would be tempted and rush over to snatch it. Although Ling Xiao had the advantage, time was still very tight. It was not that easy to obtain the pill saint's inheritance. Chapter 1828. In the void sacred world, many people were shocked by the bright pillar of light in the sky above Mount Hunyuan. What's that? Could it be that a saint's secret realm has appeared? Let's go. Every time a saint's secret realm appears, there will be a large number of treasures. This time, we actually found it. This is really good luck. Ha! Let's go. If we can get the saint's supreme sacred technique, we'll be rich. Get out of my way. Those who block me will die. The experts around Primordial Chaos Mountain were all alarmed. Their faces were filled with excitement as they rushed towards Primordial Chaos Mountain. Even the experts who were even further away were flying over as the news spread. With such a huge commotion, this was definitely not an ordinary saint's secret realm. Everyone had cultivated in the void sacred world for many years and naturally knew how terrifying the ancient saints were. No one wanted to miss out on such a supreme opportunity. In the Hunyuan secret realm, Ling Xiao and Jin Sei were surrounded by clouds. They could vaguely see an ancient and huge palace in front of them. However, the clouds shone brightly and transformed into various mysterious shapes. They gave off a dangerous feeling. It's actually a large array? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could sense the changes in the clouds around him. The clouds seemed to have been bestowed with spirituality by the formation, transforming into various living creatures within the formation. Each and every one of them was extremely lifelike, making it impossible to tell if they were real or fake. With a loud roar, the clouds rolled and a white tiger leaped out from the clouds. It opened its bloody mouth and lunged towards Ling Xiao and Jin Sei. "Get out of my way." Ling Xiao's physical strength exploded as he threw out a punch. Kacha! The golden fist print traversed the void and contained unparalleled divine power. It directly blasted the white tiger away. It turned back into clouds and disappeared into the large array. However, Ling Xiao seemed to have poked a hornet's nest. Suddenly, the clouds rolled and surged. Countless powerful divine beasts rushed out from within. Their auras were monstrous and extremely powerful. Jin Sei, follow me. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. He could not be bothered to find the exit of the large array and directly took out the flipping sky seal. Rumble! In an instant, the flipping sky seal radiated an immeasurable amount of light. It was ancient and heavy. Dazzling runes shot out from its surface and immediately shattered the powerful divine beasts transformed from the clouds and mist. The flipping sky seal shrouded Ling Xiao and Jin Sei's heads. Saintly might spread out like a defensive barrier, protecting them as they flew toward the depths of the formation. This formation was extremely mysterious. It was a supreme holy formation. It seemed to contain the world of heaven and earth. Clouds and mist were faintly discernible. Not only could it form powerful divine beasts, it could even form wind, rain, thunder, lightning, and other vast natural forces. Ling Xiao could sense that one needed an extremely deep understanding of the laws of the world to make it out of the formation unscathed. It was impossible for regular people to make it out of the formation so easily. However, Ling Xiao was not in the mood to break the array bit by bit. Time was of the essence. Experts were about to enter the chaotic universe's secret realm at any time. Ling Xiao took out the flipping sky seal and used its supreme power to open up a path, leading him and Jinsei out of the array. Boom! The path in front of them suddenly opened up. Dazzling rays of light filled the air. A huge herb garden appeared in front of Ling Xiao and Jinsei. A rich fragrance wafted out from the herb garden. It was invigorating. Is this the herb garden of the chaotic universe elixir saint? Ling Xiao's eyes widened in shock. He was pleasantly surprised. 9 transformation soul lotus, golden glow grass, yuan ling divine fruit. There are so many ancient divine herbs here. It seems that this is indeed the secret land of inheritance of an elixir saint. Jinsei nodded. Her eyes fell on the herb garden in front of her and revealed a strange light. Inside the herb garden, dazzling rays of light shrouded the precious herbs. They were verdant and filled with mysterious Taoist rhymes. At first glance, one could tell that they were extremely extraordinary. Ling Xiao could even see that there were several blood soul fruits that he had just obtained from the auction in the Fortune Treasure Pavilion. This was definitely an unimaginably huge treasure trove. However, every stalk of divine medicine was enveloped in a layer of mysterious enchantment. It looked like it was overflowing with light and contained a powerful defensive power. Buzz. When Ling Xiao got close to a divine herb, the barrier suddenly shone brightly. Strange runes and restrictions appeared on it. It was the same as what Ling Xiao saw in the primordial ancient tablet. They were all alchemy restrictions. If he wanted to obtain this divine herb, he had to break the elixir Dao restrictions. Ling Xiao did not know whether to laugh or cry. This chaotic universe elixir saint really left tests everywhere. However, I don't have the time to accept your test now. I'm sorry. If the chaotic universe ancient tablet had not opened, Ling Xiao might have the mood to slowly break the elixir Dao restrictions. It was naturally very beneficial to his elixir Dao cultivation. However, there were people coming in at any time now. Although Ling Xiao and Jinsei had a certain advantage, they could not afford to waste any time if they wanted to maintain their advantage. Boom! Ling Xiao immediately took out the flipping sky seal. The flipping sky seal shone brightly and contained unparalleled divine power. It directly slammed into the inhibition of alchemy way in front of him. Suddenly, the bounded domain exploded. Jinsei, I will break the barrier. You take the divine herb. Ling Xiao smiled at Jinsei. Okay. Jinsei nodded. Suddenly, a light flashed in her palm. It turned into a divine rainbow and swept up the divine herb. Boom, boom, boom. After Ling Xiao tasted the sweetness, there was a violent roar in the herb garden. Every time the flipping sky seal fell, it could break a powerful barrier. Then, Jinsei would take away the divine herb within. Soon, Ling Xiao and Jinsei worked together and collected hundreds of divine herbs. Ling Xiao, we are still too slow. Let's give up on the ordinary divine herbs. Let's go to the center of the herb garden. There should be origin source sacred herbs there. They are the most precious. Jinsei said lightly to Ling Xiao. Okay, let's go. Ling Xiao nodded and flew into the depths of the herb garden with Jinsei. The herb garden was extremely large and covered an area of more than 10,000 miles. Ling Xiao and Jinsei were not fast. As they flew, they collected some of the more precious divine herbs and half-step divine herbs. Chapter 1829. Presumably, the origin elixir saint had left behind such a powerful barrier in the hope that everyone could use their understanding of elixir Dao to collect the many precious herbs in the herb garden. However, the origin elixir saint did not expect such a freak like Ling Xiao to be able to break through one barrier after another with the flipping sky seal and take away the precious herbs within. At the center of the medicinal garden, rays of light were dense. Multicolored light was resplendent, and 9 golden barriers actually appeared there. Within the 9 golden boundaries, there were a total of 9 incomparably mysterious precious medicines. Each of them looked incomparably mysterious and contained an extremely powerful spiritual fluctuation. Some were like golden divine dragons, some were like phoenixes bathed in flames, and some were like purple lightning. At a glance, one could tell that they were extremely extraordinary. There are 9 origin sacred herbs. Looks like we're really going to be rich this time. Ling Xiao could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. His eyes were filled with incomparable surprise. The origin sacred herbs contain the origin of the great Tao. Basically, they have already broken through the limits of the spiritual herbs themselves. Many of them have the ability to fly. Be careful not to let them escape. Jinsei said slowly. Okay, I'll break the barrier later. Jinsei, you take the origin sacred herbs. This 7-colored heavenly dragon Ganoderma is an origin sacred herb from ancient times. It's almost lost now. You may only be able to find it in the demon realm. The 7-colored heavenly dragon Ganoderma can be refined into a powerful sacred elixir that can temper the physical body. It can also increase the success rate of crossing the nirvana tribulation. Ling Zhao's gaze fell on a sacred herb that was emitting 7-colored divine light. It looked like a small golden dragon. This 7-colored heavenly dragon Ganoderma was extremely mysterious. It looked lifelike, as if it was really a divine dragon. Its pair of extremely intelligent eyes were also staring at Ling Xiao and Jinsei. Boom! The flipping sky seal soared into the sky. Wrapped in monstrous divine power, it suddenly pressed down on the 7-colored heavenly dragon Ganoderma. The golden barrier seemed to have sensed a powerful external attack. It instantly became dazzling and emitted a reddish-gold glow. Runes flowed, and there was a mysterious and immortal fluctuation. The flipping sky seal hit the golden barrier but did not shatter it. It was blocked. However, Ling Xiao could still see that the golden bounded domain had dimmed slightly. Apparently, it had suffered a great deal of pressure in order to withstand the blow of the flipping sky seal. As expected of the Origin's sacred medicine's barrier, I'm afraid only a true saint would be able to break it. Ling Xiao sighed inwardly. If an ordinary person wanted to obtain these 9 origin source sacred herbs, they would probably only be able to watch helplessly without being able to undo the pill Dao restrictions within. I'd like to see how many times you can block the flipping sky seal's attacks. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he controlled the flipping sky seal to suppress the 7-colored heavenly dragon Ganoderma again. Boom, boom, boom. The entire herb garden was shaking violently. Ling Xiao controlled the flipping sky seal and blasted it dozens of times in a row. Finally, he shattered the golden bounded domain. The 7-colored heavenly dragon Ganoderma trembled slightly and turned into a bolt of golden lightning. It wanted to escape the moment the barrier shattered, but Jinsei was already prepared. Her slender fingers reached out and grabbed. There seemed to be a mysterious world in her palm. She directly put the Ganoderma away. Phew! The power of this bounded domain is really strong. Ling Xiao said with a wry smile. The flipping sky seal had only broken 1 bounded domain after attacking it for so long. This showed how strong the defense of the golden bounded domain was. The flipping sky seal was a top holy treasure. Although it had the Thunder Spirit King as its device spirit, Ling Xiao was the owner of the flipping sky seal. He was extremely tired after controlling the flipping sky seal for so long. If he continued to attack with the flipping sky seal, Ling Xiao would probably only be able to break 2 or 3 more bounded domains before he was completely exhausted. No one knew what dangers there would be in the immemorial mystery land. Moreover, experts could come at any time. Ling Xiao had to maintain enough battle strength. Let's try using the sky-devouring secret skill. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. He immediately walked to the 2nd origin source sacred medicine and slapped it with his palm. Boom! Ling Xiao directly activated the sky-devouring secret skill. The vast sky-devouring power broke out. Divine light surged behind Ling Xiao and a vast ocean appeared vaguely. The power of the bounded domain began to surge toward Ling Zhao's palm. However, Ling Xiao found that the golden bounded domain was perfect and balanced. Although the sky-devouring secret skill could shake the power of the bounded domain, it would take a long time to break the power of the bounded domain at this speed. Wordless heavenly book, break out. Divine light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. At the same time, he activated the power of the wordless heavenly book. The wordless heavenly book emitted a vast and ancient aura. In an instant, it merged with Ling Zhao's sky-devouring divine power. With the support of the wordless heavenly book, Ling Zhao's sky-devouring secret skill began to soar. A terrifying sky-devouring power broke out, causing the golden bounded domain to tremble violently. Runes broke one after another. The vast power contained in the golden bounded domain instantly flowed through Ling Zhao's palm into the wordless heavenly book. It was swallowed and refined by the wordless heavenly book. A moment later, the golden bounded domain shattered. The second sacred herb of origin was taken by Jin Se. This golden bounded domain actually contains the alchemy Tao of the origin pill saint. Although it's just a fragment, it's still very precious. After Ling Zhao swallowed the golden bounded domain, he also absorbed the alchemy Tao restriction within it. He felt that his understanding of alchemy Tao had deepened. His eyes lit up involuntarily. Boom! Ling Zhao began to devour the third bounded domain. With the support of the wordless heavenly book, the sky-devouring secret skill erupted with terrifying power. It could be said that it could devour anything. It devoured the heavens and earth, swallowing all the golden bounded domains. In the blink of an eye, all 8 sacred herbs of origin had fallen into the hands of Ling Zhao and Jin Se. There's still the last one, the mystical turtle immortal orchid. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and fell on the last sacred herb of origin. The mystic turtle immortal orchid looked like a strange orchid rooted on an ancient mystic turtle. It was surrounded by a faint chaotic light. There were strange patterns of great Tao emerging. Its shape was very peculiar. The mystic turtle immortal orchid was also an ancient sacred herb. It contained an incomparably vast primordial spirit power. It could purify a person's primordial spirit and make it conform to the great Tao. If it was refined into a sacred herb and consumed, it could increase the success rate of becoming a saint. Therefore, the mystic turtle immortal orchid was extremely precious to many half-saints. However, the mystic turtle immortal orchid had almost been lost in the divine world. Only a few stalks of the mystic turtle immortal orchid still existed in the herb gardens of the immortal sacred grounds. However, they were all provided to the holy sons and holy daughters with the most potential to consume. Chapter 1830. Two silhouettes traversed the air and arrived at the centermost area of the herb garden in an instant. The leader was a young man in a white robe. He looked to be in his 20s. His body was strong and vigorous, and his face was handsome. His skin was as translucent as jade, and his whole body exuded a powerful aura. His cultivation had already reached the 4th revolution half-saint realm, and he had a lofty air of arrogance. Beside him stood an old man with white hair and a beard. His face was ruddy, and he looked very dignified. His eyes were deep, and his whole person was unfathomable. Although the old man hid his aura, Ling Zhao still sensed that this old man was at the peak of the 9th revolution half-saint realm. This is the mystical turtle immortal orchid? The old man's eyes flashed. He saw the mystical turtle immortal orchid in the boundary, and his body trembled. His eyes were blazing. Is it really the mystical turtle immortal orchid? Grandpa, the mystical turtle immortal pill refined from the mystical turtle immortal orchid can purify your primordial spirit and greatly increase your chances of becoming a saint. I didn't expect that we would encounter such a sacred herb of origin. God is really helping us. The young man in a white robe also showed a trace of joy in his eyes. They automatically ignored Ling Zhao and Jin Se. After all, Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at the 2nd revolution half-saint realm, and Jin Se was only at the 1st revolution half-saint realm. The only thing that surprised them was that Ling Zhao and Jin Se both had a golden holy badge between their eyebrows. After all, the golden holy badge was extremely rare. Generally, only the true disciples of the immortal sacred grounds or the holy sons were qualified to obtain it. They immediately began to suspect Ling Zhao and Jin Se's identity. Who are you? The mystical turtle immortal orchid is not something you can covet. Leave, we want the mystical turtle immortal orchid. The young man in a white robe glanced indifferently at Ling Zhao and Jin Se. No matter who Ling Xiao and Jin Se were, the mystical turtle immortal orchid was extremely important to the young man's grandfather. Therefore, he must obtain it. 2 children, give the mystical turtle immortal orchid to me, and I will help you choose 10 half-saint herbs. How about it? The boundary of this sacred herb of origin is extremely powerful. It's not something you can shake. The old man also smiled slightly, and he looked very amiable. He was a cautious person, and before he figured out Ling Xiao and Jin Se's identities, he didn't want to offend them. Ling Xiao did not even look at the white-robed young man and old man. Boundless devouring power erupted from his palm, continuing to devour the barrier's energy. Jin Se, on the other hand, had always been indifferent, so she naturally ignored them. When the white-robed young man saw that he was being ignored like this, his eyes couldn't help but turn cold. He scolded, "Are you too deaf? I advise you not to refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Hurry up and scram." The smile on the old man's face slowly vanished. He coldly said when he saw how the 2 juniors had failed to appreciate his kindness, "The origin saint herb is not something you can covet. Leave immediately, and I won't pursue your offense. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." As soon as the old man finished speaking, a crisp sound rang out. The golden barrier shattered. The mystic turtle immortal orchid trembled slightly, but before it could escape, it was grabbed by Jin Se and put away. Ling Xiao and Jin Se's cooperation was perfect, so they instantly took away the mystic turtle immortal orchid. The white-robed young man and old man were both stunned. They had tried it before. Even the enchantments of divine herbs and semi-sage herbs were incomparably powerful, not to mention the golden enchantment outside the mystical turtle immortal orchid. It wasn't something that an ordinary semi-sage could break. However, the 2 young men in front of them had used some unknown method to break the golden barrier and take away the mystic turtle immortal orchid. Ling Xiao turned around and looked at the white-robed young man and old man indifferently. "We found the mystic turtle immortal orchid first. Why should we give it to you? If you don't want to die, scram immediately. I'm in a good mood today, and I don't want to kill anyone." "You want us to scram? Pa, I really don't know where your confidence comes from. Boy, you've successfully angered me. Even if you kneel down and offer up the mystic turtle immortal orchid with both hands, don't think of leaving so easily. Grandfather, I see that this boy has a special method to take the origin saint herb. Why don't we capture him and collect the origin saint herb for us? This girl's temperament isn't bad. Let her be my concubine." The white-robed young man laughed out of anger and stared at Ling Xiao and Jin Se. "All right. Looking at the location of the barrier, there should be 9 origin saint herbs. I'm afraid that this boy has taken all of them. When I capture him, I'll make him our herb slave. As for this girl, she'll be your bed-warming maid." The old man said coldly. His gaze was incomparably deep. Boom! A powerful aura exploded from the old man's body. The cultivation of a 9th revolution half-saint filled the air and suppressed Ling Xiao. However, the old man was disappointed that he didn't see any fear or terror from Ling Xiao and Jin Se's expressions. Ling Xiao's eyes instantly turned blood red, filled with monstrous killing intent. "You're courting death." It didn't matter how much the white-robed young man and old man provoked Ling Xiao. However, Jin Se was Ling Xiao's reverse scale. No one could blaspheme it. Dragons had reverse scales, and those who touched them would die. The white-robed young man and old man were on Ling Xiao's must-kill list. "Leave him to me." Jin Se's cold voice rang out. Her gaze landed on the white-robed young man, without a trace of emotion. "All right, be careful." Ling Xiao nodded. His gaze fell on the old man instantly. His killing intent was almost tangible. Buzz! The flipping sky seal shone brightly. It instantly flew out of Ling Xiao's body and soared into the sky. It was like an archaic sacred mountain, exuding an aura that could suppress everything. The white-robed young man and old man were still sneering. However, when they felt the aura of the flipping sky seal, their expressions changed drastically. "Retreat!" The old man felt a fatal danger from the flipping sky seal. Without thinking, he grabbed the white-robed young man and tried to retreat quickly. However, the flipping sky seal shone brightly. Its vast aura instantly suppressed the old man and the white-robed young man. "Open up!" the old man roared. His hair and beard stood up. His palm shone brightly and a long black rod appeared. He suddenly faced the flipping sky seal. The long black rod was a powerful holy treasure. Its holy aura permeated the air. Its aura was very powerful. It directly collided with the flipping sky seal. Boom! A terrifying divine power exploded out, and the black staff in the old man's hand was sent flying. His entire body seemed to have been struck by lightning, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, fiercely smashing into the ground in the distance. Chapter 1831. This is the flipping sky seal of the War God Hall? You are the War God Hall Master, Long Outyen? The old man seemed to have thought of something. Suddenly, his body shook and his eyes revealed a tinge of fear. The flipping sky seal of the War God Hall was too famous. During the battle 1,000,000 years ago, the Scarlet Dragon War God used the flipping sky seal to suppress the sages and shook the entire divine world. Although the flipping sky seal was not an Extreme Dao Emperor weapon, it was more famous than many other Extreme Dao Emperor weapons because of that battle. In addition, the War God Hall had spread the news that the flipping sky seal had recognized an owner. The owner of the flipping sky seal was Long Outyen. In the great Zhou divine country's Wuzong mountain, he and Ji Feishuan had opened the treasure of the Empress of Life and obtained the Extreme Dao Emperor weapon Zhou Tian's Life and Death Mirror. Previously, the old man did not recognize the flipping sky seal. However, even his flawless holy treasure, Tianji Pole, could not block the attack of the black ancient seal. He immediately thought of the flipping sky seal. Rumble. Ling Zhao's eyes were extremely cold. He did not answer the old man. The flipping sky seal released a blazing light again and suppressed the old man. Palace Master Long, please calm down. We have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please spare our lives, Palace Master Long. We will definitely follow Palace Master Long's lead. The old man's eyes revealed a tinge of anxiety and fear as he hurriedly shouted. Although he was not afraid of dying in the void sacred world, it was not easy for him to encounter the opening of the primordial chaos Pill Saint's secret realm. If he was killed by Ling Xiao now and left the void sacred world, he would really miss this opportunity. The old man's cultivation had been stuck in the 9th Revolution half-saint realm for countless years. Now that he was nearing the end of his lifespan, he had to find an opportunity to break through as soon as possible. He did not want to be eliminated just like that. After recognizing the flipping sky seal in Ling Zhao's hand, he knew that he was no match for Ling Xiao. Therefore, he immediately gave in. What were you doing earlier? Ling Xiao smiled coldly. The flipping sky seal shook violently, and a terrifying divine power descended. Runes fell down, forming a vast chaotic space. The elder had no room to dodge at all. Long Outyen, I will remember you. Don't think that you can do whatever you want with the flipping sky seal. You will die a horrible death one day. The old man roared angrily. He knew that Ling Xiao wouldn't forgive him, so he just started cursing. Rumble. Under the suppression of the flipping sky seal, the old man's body suddenly exploded into powder. The silver holy badge between his eyebrows rolled up his primordial spirit and instantly disappeared into the void. Ling Xiao originally planned to use the wordless heavenly book to keep the elder's primordial spirit, but he found that the elder's primordial spirit was extremely mysterious. Before Ling Xiao could do anything, the primordial spirit disappeared directly. On the other side, the white-robed young man was battling with Jin Se. When the white-robed young man saw that Jin Se was only a first revolution half-saint, his eyes were full of contempt. He was ready to capture Jin Se to threaten Ling Xiao, but he made a big mistake. Jin Se's strength was so terrifying that even the white-robed young man felt like he couldn't resist her. Jin Se held an ancient sword in her hand. The aura around her was cold and sharp. Her white hair was like streaks of sword radiance, forming a vast sword realm around her. Every strike was as fast as lightning, aiming for the white-robed young man's vital points. It was a kind of vast and ruthless sword essence, which was close to the way of heaven. Because it was ruthless, its power was multiplied. Every strike contained the aura of death, causing the white-robed young man to be flustered. Soon, several bloody wounds appeared on his body. Grandfather! The scene where Ling Xiao used the flipping sky seal to kill the old man was also discovered by the white-robed young man. Immediately, his body shook and he could not help but roar loudly. He didn't expect that his grandfather would be killed by Ling Xiao so quickly. When the white-robed young man was distracted, the sword radiance in the sky suddenly converged into one. Along with Jin Sei's lightning-like figure, the sword radiance instantly slashed the white-robed young man's neck. Blood spurted out, and a huge head flew up into the sky. This time, the wordless heavenly book flashed. The moment the white-robed young man was killed by Jin Sei, it was about to devour his primordial spirit. However, a vast holy way radiance bloomed in the white-robed young man's primordial spirit, blocking the power of the wordless heavenly book for a moment. This moment was enough for the silver holy badge to sweep up the white-robed young man's primordial spirit and disappear from the void saint world. Ling Xiao still couldn't keep the white-robed young man's primordial spirit. The mark of a sage? It seems like this pair of grandfather and granddaughter are not simple. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The primordial spirits of the old man and the white-robed young man had powerful means left behind by the sages. Ling Xiao couldn't keep their primordial spirits. It seemed like this pair of grandfather and granddaughter were not simple people. Perhaps they were experts from some holy land. What surprised Ling Xiao was Jin Sei's combat strength. With the cultivation of a first revolution half-saint, she was able to kill a fourth revolution half-saint expert. Jin Sei's sharp sword essence sent chills down one's spine. It was like the sword of heaven, unparalleled. This was probably the Taishang sword essence of the Taishang Holy Ji Palace. With the Taishang unruffled sword essence, it was compatible with the origin of the heavenly way. With the heavenly way as one's heart, it possessed unfathomable combat strength. Therefore, the experts of the Taishang Holy Ji Palace were mostly sword cultivators. Each of them had extraordinary combat strength and were known to be invincible among their peers. However, when Ling Xiao thought of Jin Sei's longevity sword essence, which was completely different from the one before him, he couldn't help but feel bitter. Could Jin Sei really recall her past memories? At this moment, even Ling Xiao was a little uncertain. What are you thinking about? More people have come to the herb garden. Let's leave this place first. Jin Sei's cold voice rang out. She saw that Ling Xiao was a little absent-minded and couldn't help but reveal a strange look in her eyes. They're not slow at all. Let's go. Ling Xiao suppressed the complicated thoughts in his heart. He also felt the faint aura of the experts in the distance and smiled at Jin Sei. The two of them left the herb garden and headed towards the depths of the secret territory. After passing through the herb garden, they arrived at a huge palace. The palace was completely black and looked extremely old and shabby. The mottled walls left behind traces of the passage of time. No one knew how long it had existed. Behind the palace, there was an extremely vast building complex. There were pavilions, pagodas, palaces, and pagodas. It looked very majestic, and one could even vaguely feel that there were powerful rune restrictions hidden within it. Is this really just the Origin Essence Pill Saint's cave abode? It looks more like the ruins of a sect. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. The Origin Essence Pill Saint was very famous in the ancient times. The supreme divine pills that he refined were highly valued even by sage kings and imperial emperors. Looking at the scene before us, perhaps this is the sect that he founded in his later years. Let's search around first. The inheritance left behind by such a person is probably not that easy to obtain. Chapter 1832. Although Ling Xiao and Jin Sei were chatting, their speed wasn't slow. They turned into two streaks of light and directly flew into the ancient palace in front of them. Inside the palace, rays of light filled the air. In front of Ling Xiao and Jin Sei, a beautiful galaxy appeared. It stretched across the sky and stretched for billions of miles. When Ling Xiao and Jin Sei entered the palace, it was as if they had entered a mysterious galaxy. They were instantly attracted by the magnificent scene before them. No, this is not an illusion of a galaxy. It's a galaxy formed by Saint Liquid? How many drops of Saint Liquid are there? Ling Xiao's body trembled as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Although the galaxy in front of him was very confusing, dazzling, and intoxicating, Ling Xiao was still very sensitive to the fact that this entire galaxy was actually a Saint Liquid galaxy. It was completely made up of Saint Liquid. Hurry up and collect it. Jin Sei's eyes flashed as she leaped up. Her red robes fluttered and her white hair danced as she flew towards the galaxy in front of her. All right. Ling Xiao naturally knew that time was of the essence. He took a deep breath and a terrifying golden light erupted from his body. He activated the heaven-devouring secret skill and the wordless heavenly book at the same time. Rumble! Dazzling golden light bloomed as an ancient and mysterious aura erupted. A golden vortex appeared above Ling Xiao's head and began to devour the vast amount of Saint Liquid in the galaxy. If the entire galaxy was made of Saint Liquid, would it be a few 100,000 pounds, a few million pounds, or a few 100 million pounds? Ling Xiao had never imagined that there would actually be a Saint Liquid galaxy in this seemingly ordinary palace. Even the immortal sacred grounds would find it difficult to take out such a large sum. Boom! The golden vortex swallowed the vast amount of Saint Liquid like a whale swallowing the ocean. In an instant, millions of drops of Saint Liquid were devoured by the wordless heavenly book. Ling Xiao did not refine the holy liquid. After all, his current physical body was only formed by the faux saint world and was not his real physical body. However, the holy liquid seemed to be very useful to the wordless heavenly book. Ling Xiao could feel the aura of the wordless heavenly book gradually increasing. The damaged parts on the originally sparkling and translucent pages also started to repair. I've really struck it rich this time. Ling Xiao's heart was incomparably carefree. In the span of a few breaths, he had already swallowed hundreds of millions of drops of holy liquid. This was even faster than robbing money. Perhaps even a saint would go crazy after seeing such a vast amount of holy liquid. Boom! The wordless heavenly book shone brightly as it devoured the holy liquid. When the holy liquid fell into the wordless heavenly book, it was condensed into pure white pills by the mysterious power of the wordless heavenly book. They were the size of a longan fruit and had strange runes on them. They were filled with powerful holy aura and contained extremely pure energy fluctuations. This is the origin pill. Who would have thought that the wordless heavenly book could condense the holy liquid into a source pill? This is really an unexpected surprise. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. Although saints could extract holy liquid from the energy of heaven and earth, holy liquid was still very important to semi-saints. It was almost useless to saints. Saints comprehended the origin of the great path, and the power in their bodies was the origin saint power. Therefore, they needed to refine the origin power between heaven and earth in order to improve their cultivation. Although the holy liquid contained a trace of origin power, it was still somewhat impure. The origin pill contained the purest origin energy. Even for a saint, it was extremely useful. It could help a saint cultivate and break through. However, even for a saint, it would take a lot of effort and time to condense an origin pill from heaven and earth. Therefore, many saints would condense some saint liquid for their younger disciples to use. Only saints would use origin pills to cultivate or trade. The origin pill was the hard currency between saints. Ling Xiao estimated that it would take more than 1 million drops of holy liquid to condense an origin pill. Although he had swallowed a large amount of holy liquid, the wordless heavenly book had only condensed 10 origin pills. Good stuff. With the origin pill, I'll definitely be able to break through to the 9th revolution half-saint realm. Ling Xiao thought excitedly. At the same time, he activated the wordless heavenly book and the sky-devouring secret skill even more crazily. He swallowed a large amount of holy liquid while condensing origin pills with the wordless heavenly book. As for Jin Sei, Although she didn't have the sky-devouring secret skill or the wordless heavenly book, a green gourd appeared in her hand. It looked dazzling and vast. It was also a powerful saint treasure. The green gourd was opened and expanded in the void. It was also swallowing the vast holy liquid in the galaxy. Although it was not as fast as Ling Xiao, it had also collected a large amount of holy liquid. Rumble! The Saint Liquid Star River trembled violently. Ling Xiao could see countless stars in the dazzling star river. Those stars seemed to represent the origin elixirs. After Ling Xiao condensed hundreds of origin elixirs with the wordless heavenly book, the star river dimmed. Ling Xiao estimated that he had already devoured more than half of the holy liquid in the holy liquid galaxy. However, the gate of the palace was opened again. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A dozen figures flew in from outside the palace. They were all half-saint experts. However, most of them were low-level half-saints. There were 2 6th Revolution half-saint experts and a 7th Revolution half-saint black-robed middle-aged man. When the dozen figures entered the palace, they were instantly stunned by the scene in front of them. Oh my God, am I seeing things? This entire galaxy is actually made up of Saint Liquid? This is incredible. Is this the remains of an ancient immortal holy land? How can there be so much holy liquid? The holy liquid here is enough for each of us to cultivate to the peak of the 9th Revolution half-saint realm. Everyone became incomparably excited, and their eyes revealed a greedy and fervent light. Look, the 2 of them are collecting the holy liquid so fast. Let's do it too. With so much holy liquid, we are really going to be rich this time. Someone's eyes flashed as he saw Ling Xiao and Jin Sei collecting the holy liquid. They are just a 1st Revolution half-saint and a 2nd Revolution half-saint. They must have a powerful spatial holy treasure on them. How can collecting the holy liquid be as fast as stealing it? The 7th Revolution half-saint black-robed middle-aged man said coldly. Chapter 1833. Although the cultivation of this couple is not high, look at their glabella. Both of them have golden holy badges. I'm afraid they are disciples of immortal sanctuaries or ancient clans. They are not to be trifled with. The rest of the people did not move. Their gazes fell on the golden holy badges between Ling Xiao and Jin Sei's glabella with a tinge of fear in their eyes. Let's see what Dao Ba is capable of. This is the Void Saint world. Everyone can hide their aura and appearance. So what if they rob them? They can forget about finding our real bodies in the divine world. However, if they have powerful holy treasures, Dao Ba might not be able to get away with it. Some people laughed at Dao Ba's misfortune. The middle-aged man with the scar also saw the golden holy badges between Ling Xiao and Jin Sei's glabella. However, he had always been arrogant. Moreover, he was in the Void Saint world. Relying on his powerful cultivation, he did not take Ling Xiao and Jin Sei seriously at all. Therefore, although he had some guesses about their identities, he still took action. Boom! Black light flickered in Dao Ba's palm. He slammed his palm towards Ling Xiao. His 5 fingers were like 5 ancient mountains. They contained extremely powerful energy fluctuations and suppressed Ling Xiao. This was the unique skill of the middle-aged man with the scar, 5 sacred mountain palms. Although the middle-aged man with the scar was arrogant, he did not dare to be careless. Therefore, he used his unique skill right off the bat. In his opinion, Ling Xiao would be severely injured even if he did not die. Ling Xiao's expression was extremely calm. He was still using the heaven-devouring secret skill to devour the vast holy liquid. When the palm was about to land on Ling Xiao's head, Ling Xiao could not help but frown. He said coldly, "Scram." Ling Xiao's voice boomed like thunder, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. The flipping sky seal flew out from the top of Ling Xiao's head and expanded with a rumble. It directly shattered the 5 sacred palms in the void and then pressed down on the middle-aged man with the scar. The middle-aged man with the scar did not even have time to scream. He was killed by the flipping sky seal and turned into a pool of blood. Ling Xiao did not even move. The moment the flipping sky seal appeared, a 7th Revolution half-saint was killed. The scene in front of them completely stunned the dozen or so experts who were watching the show. Even their bodies were trembling. They even thought that if they had lost their minds and followed the scarred man to deal with Ling Xiao and Jin Se, they would probably be dead by now. Jin Se, let's go. Ling Xiao looked at Jin Se with a warm smile on his face. At this moment, everyone was in a daze. Was this still the same person who killed without batting an eyelid? He actually revealed such a smile? All right. Jin Se nodded obediently. In this Saint Liquid galaxy, more than half of the Saint Liquid had been collected by Ling Xiao and Jin Se. There was no point in staying behind to collect more. Moreover, as more and more experts appeared behind them, there would only be more trouble. It was better to continue forward and collect more resources. Ling Xiao and Jin Se didn't even look at the crowd. They turned into two streaks of light and flew out of the palace. Only then did everyone heave a sigh of relief and wipe the sweat off their foreheads. Their hearts were in their mouths just now. They were afraid that Ling Xiao and Jin Se would kill them all in a fit of anger. Fortunately, Ling Xiao didn't put them in his eyes. This should have made them angry, but now they were incomparably relieved. These two must be true disciples of the immortal Saint Land. Moreover, they must be true disciples with extremely high status. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to control such a powerful saint treasure. Someone said slowly, his eyes full of fear. That's right. I just don't know what kind of treasure that ancient seal is. It's so terrifying that even a 7th revolution half-saint couldn't withstand its power. Everyone was guessing the identity of Ling Xiao and Jin Se. This secret territory is not ordinary. There must be more treasures behind it. Everyone, a mere Saint Liquid isn't that precious. I'll take my leave first. If I can obtain the inheritance of an ancient saint, it'll be a great opportunity and fortune. After Ling Xiao and Jin Se left, a few people became restless. The Saint Liquid galaxy in front of them was no longer that attractive. They all flew out of the palace and flew into the depths of the secret territory. Only a few low-level half-saints with lower cultivation decided to stay and collect the Saint Liquid. It was hard to say what kind of opportunities and treasures there would be later, but they would first collect the Saint Liquid in front of them. The primordial chaos mystic realm quickly became lively. The heavenly divine pillar alarmed countless experts in the void saint world, causing them to rush towards the immemorial secret territory. After passing through the large array at the entrance of the secret territory, they began to explore the secret territory. Some chose to explore bit by bit, but there were also experts who chose to rush directly into the depths of the immemorial secret territory. Even the herb garden didn't attract their attention. A few powerful auras swept past the herb garden and headed towards the depths of the secret territory. That's Ironheart Yuan and Xiao Rui from Pill Talisman Mountain. The two of them are here too? The number 1 genius of Pill Talisman Mountain, Fairy Lin Shi, is here too. As expected of Fairy Lin Shi. She's an outstanding beauty with a peerless appearance. Her cultivation has actually reached the 9th revolution half-saint realm. The number 1 holy son of 5 elements saint sect, Huang Xuanzong, is here too. Everyone in the medicine garden lifted their heads and saw the few powerful figures flashing across the medicine garden. Immediately, an incomparably shocked expression appeared in their eyes. In addition to the experts that everyone knew, there were many unfamiliar figures with powerful auras. They might have concealed their auras and identities. All of them were heading towards the depths of the secret territory at an extremely fast speed. For these geniuses, although the precious herbs in the herb garden were precious, they were not enough to stop them. What they really cared about were the treasures in the depths of the secret territory. It might be a supreme divine pill, a powerful holy treasure, or a supreme divine technique. Only the inheritances of the true ancient saints were worth fighting for. Some people chose to continue collecting herbs in the herb garden, but some couldn't resist the temptation of the depths of the secret territory. They followed the experts and flew towards the depths of the secret territory. Alchemy Palace. This was one of the most majestic palaces in the group of buildings. It emitted a scarlet glow and was filled with flaming runes. There was also a powerful array restriction at the entrance of the palace. The array restriction was related to the secrets of alchemy Tao. If one were to follow the normal method, only an alchemy saint would be able to unlock the array restriction at the entrance of the alchemy palace. Naturally, Ling Xiao couldn't enter through the normal method. 1. Chapter 1834. Boom, boom, boom. The sky-flipping seal slammed into the door, causing runes to explode. The terrifying power caused the entire alchemy palace to tremble. Ling Xiao's violent attacks, coupled with the power of the sky-devouring secret skill, caused the alchemy palace's array to weaken after countless years. It was quickly broken by Ling Xiao. They're really fast. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he sensed a group of powerful figures flying towards the depths of the secret realm. His heart skipped a beat as he entered the alchemy palace with Jin Sei. The interior of the alchemy palace was extremely spacious and contained an internal space. After Ling Xiao and Jin Sei entered, they felt an extremely hot aura coming towards them. In front of them were hundreds of alchemy furnaces. Each alchemy furnace was incomparably huge, ancient, and mysterious. They were enveloped in mysterious flames, and a faint pill fragrance emanated from the alchemy furnaces. In addition to these hundreds of alchemy furnaces, there were many alchemy furnaces and remnants of pills. Some were broken, while others were formed by the alchemy furnaces' self-destruction. Using alchemy furnaces to nurture pills, and who knows how many years they've been nurturing pills. The pills in these alchemy furnaces must be extraordinary. The ones left behind must be of high quality. Jin Sei said slowly as a strange look appeared in her eyes. The era of the saints of the antiquity age was probably hundreds of millions of years ago. The secret realm of the origin pill saint was also extremely ancient. The elixir that could be preserved from the antiquity age to the present must be extraordinary. These hundreds of alchemy furnaces must be at least of the divine grade. It's a pity that these alchemy furnaces can't be moved and are connected to the power of the secret realm. We can only open the alchemy furnaces and take the alchemy furnaces. Otherwise, those fellows behind us can only eat dust. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a trace of pity. Let's split up. I'm afraid those people will be here soon. Jin Sei's eyes flashed and instantly fell on an alchemy furnace in the distance. Boom! Her slender hand suddenly clapped, but the cauldron shook violently. Unexpectedly, there was the sound of metal clashing. Flames rose like sword chi, and sword-shaped patterns appeared on the surface of the cauldron. It's a divine-grade pill that contains the sword Dao's origin? It is indeed extraordinary. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. He could sense the vast and pure sword intent within the cauldron. No wonder Jin Sei had chosen this cauldron immediately. It was because the sword intent within was extremely compatible with her. Clang. Jin Sei's forehead glowed resplendently. Powerful spiritual force spread out and enveloped the cauldron. It was as if swords were slashing at the cauldron, emitting metallic clangs. Mysterious ripples spread out, and the entire cauldron began to shine brilliantly. The flames became more and more turbulent. In the end, Jin Sei's eyes flashed, and it turned into a mysterious sword chi that slashed at the cauldron. Rumble! The cauldron suddenly exploded, and a bright sword light bloomed. It was like the first light of the creation of the world. It contained an unparalleled sharpness, and looked mysterious. It was a milky white pill that emitted a dazzling light. The light was solid and sharp. Hundreds of millions of swords instantly shrouded Jin Sei. The pill jumped slightly in the void and instantly turned into a stream of light, wanting to rush out of the alchemy palace. It is indeed the regal sword heart pill. Jin Sei's eyes were bright. The sword light that filled the sky did not seem to have any effect on her. She reached out and grabbed at the void. It was as if the world had turned upside down. The sword light that filled the sky, including the pill, instantly fell into her palm. Jin Sei had successfully obtained a divine-grade pill. On the other side, Ling Xiao had also chosen a golden cauldron. Although Ling Xiao did not know what kind of pill was in the cauldron, He could sense from the faint medicinal fragrance that it was a divine-grade pill that could increase one's physical strength. Rumble. The flipping sky seal shone brightly and suddenly smashed into the cauldron, causing it to explode. It was so simple and violent. Suddenly, a golden pill with a blazing golden glow flew out of the cauldron and into Ling Xiao's pocket. What a pity for these cauldrons, Ling Xiao said with some regret. These cauldrons were not ordinary at first glance, but there was no way to take them away. In order to take out the pills in the cauldrons as quickly as possible, Ling Xiao could only break them with brute force. Boom! At this moment, the door of the alchemy palace suddenly opened. Powerful figures rushed in from the outside. Their auras were extremely powerful. Most of them were high-level half-saints. These guys are really fast. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Although there were many unfamiliar faces among these people, Ling Xiao also knew many of them. Xiao Rui, Tai Xinyuan, Huang Xuanzong, and Lin Shi were among them. However, Ling Xiao had used the heaven-shrouding secret skill to change his aura and appearance. Therefore, they did not recognize Ling Xiao as Grandmaster Zhao Ritian of Taixin City. However, the appearance of these people did not affect Ling Xiao and Jin Sei. They walked towards the next cauldron. There are hundreds of cauldrons? These cauldrons have existed for hundreds of millions of years. The pills in them must be priceless. Someone exclaimed. His eyes were full of excitement. Even Xiaorui, Tai Xinyuan, Huang Xuanzong, Lin Shi, and others could not help but have their eyes lit up. The pills in these cauldrons also made them a little excited. Lin Shi and Jin Sei exchanged glances secretly. They did not say anything because Lin Shi knew that Jin Sei did not want to expose her identity. However, Lin Shi still walked towards a cauldron near Jin Sei. She was ready to open this cauldron and get the pills in it. Everyone's eyes stopped on Ling Xiao and Jin Sei for a moment. Finally, their eyes fell on the golden holy badges between their eyebrows. Although Ling Xiao and Jin Sei's cultivation was not high, they had golden holy badges. Their identities were probably not ordinary. What's more, there were hundreds of cauldrons in the alchemy palace. It was enough for everyone to distribute. Therefore, there was no conflict for a while. Everyone rushed towards the cauldrons they had chosen and began to think of ways to open the cauldrons. Boom, boom, boom. For a moment, the entire alchemy palace rumbled. Everyone used various means and magic powers to open the cauldrons in front of them. This is a little troublesome. Ling Xiao frowned slightly. If no one was around, he could use the flipping sky seal to break open the cauldrons by force. However, in front of everyone, Ling Xiao naturally could not be so stupid as to take out the flipping sky seal. Not only would his identity be exposed, but he would also become the target of public criticism. Chapter 1835. Rumble. In the alchemy palace, everyone was using their own methods to open the alchemy furnaces in front of them. Hundreds of alchemy furnaces shone brightly and were wrapped in blazing flames. They were ancient and mysterious. If one wanted to open the alchemy furnaces, they needed a fixed opening method. Otherwise, it would be like a lock without a key. Of course, one could also choose to break it by force. However, these alchemy furnaces were also incomparably sturdy. Everyone was also afraid of damaging the elixirs in the alchemy furnaces, so they were carefully trying various opening methods. Fairy Lin Shi opened one of the alchemy furnaces. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Shi. Boom! The alchemy furnace in front of Lin Shi spewed out rays of light as runes bloomed one after another. The lid of the alchemy furnace slowly opened, and a rich medicinal fragrance filled the air. A bright green light shot out from it, gorgeous and dazzling. Lin Shi was already prepared. She knew that the elixir in the alchemy furnace was extremely extraordinary and even had spirituality. It was very likely that it would escape. Therefore, she directly threw a palm across the air and used a magical power to grab the green elixir in her palm. What elixir is that? I can feel that just the medicinal fragrance has made my saint energy purer by a lot. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Shi's palm, wanting to see what elixir Lin Shi had taken. However, to everyone's disappointment, Lin Shi did not show it to them. Instead, she kept it, but the corners of her eyes revealed a hint of joy. This Lin Shi, her methods are not ordinary, Ling Xiao said with some surprise. He had just noticed that Lin Shi had used an extremely ancient method to open the alchemy furnace and took the supreme sage elixir in it. To be able to exist in the alchemy palace for so long, these hundreds of alchemy furnaces were definitely supreme sage elixirs. However, countless years had passed. Originally, there might have been many elixirs in one furnace, but now, they had all merged into one and only one was left. Soon, Xiao Rui and Tai Xinyuan also opened the alchemy furnace in front of them. Young Master Xiao actually obtained the Dragon Blood Saint elixir? Someone exclaimed. There was a blood-red elixir in Xiao Rui's palm. It was filled with a powerful dragon's might. There seemed to be phantoms of real dragons appearing on it. It looked extremely extraordinary. The Dragon Blood Saint elixir could increase the strength of the physical body. Legend had it that it was refined from the blood essence of a saint-level Dragon Clan expert. It even had a certain chance of awakening the magical powers of the Dragon Clan. Although Xiao Rui had also put it away in an instant, the Dragon Blood Saint Dan was not considered rare, so everyone still recognized it. What young Master Tai obtained is the profound yellow holy pellet, which is also a holy pellet that can increase the strength of the body. In the Iron Heart Ape's palm was a pill that was filled with a mysterious yellow aura. It was the size of a longan fruit and was extremely round. It seemed to contain a heavy and ancient aura. The black-yellow sacred elixir contained a trace of the black-yellow origin power. It could also enhance the physical strength of a sage to be expert, making his physical body stronger and more abundant. Lin Shi, Xiao Rui, and Tai Xinyuan were all genius disciples of Pill Talisman Mountain. They had many means. They were the first to open the alchemy furnace in front of them. Everyone was incomparably amazed. The foundation of Pill Talisman Mountain was really amazing. Next, Huang Xuanzong also opened the alchemy furnace in front of him. Ling Xiao could feel that there was a very terrifying flame in Huang Xuanzong's body. Although it was just a flash, it burned all the runes on the alchemy furnace. He easily obtained the divine elixir in the alchemy furnace. In the alchemy palace, the light was bright and dazzling. From time to time, someone opened the alchemy furnace and obtained the precious divine elixir. Ling Xiao deliberately chose the alchemy furnace at the edge of the alchemy palace. Although he did not use the flipping sky seal to directly smash the alchemy furnace, he quietly used the sky-devouring secret skill to devour the runes on the alchemy furnace. The speed of opening the alchemy furnace was not slower than Lin Shi, Xiao Rui, and Tai Xinyuan. Moreover, Ling Xiao had used the heaven-shrouding secret technique to conceal his and the alchemy furnace's aura, deliberately weakening his own existence. Although he had obtained 7 or 8 divine elixir pills in the past few hours, no one had noticed his existence. Young Master, that young man is not simple. He and Saintess Jean Sei both entered the alchemy palace before us. He has already opened 8 alchemy furnaces. A black-robed old man standing behind Xiao Rui. Although his face was very old, his eyes were incomparably deep, as if he could see through everything. He slowly transmitted his voice to Xiao Rui. Are you suspecting that he is in cahoots with Saintess Jean Sei? It is indeed possible. To be able to kill Xiao Yun and the 2 great elders, and even prevent their primordial spirits from escaping, I'm afraid that Jean Sei can't do it alone. Xiao Rui glanced indifferently at Ling Xiao in the distance and sneered. Do you want to make a move? If you are worried about Saintess Jean Sei, I can capture this brat first. The black-robed old man said. Don't be hasty. No matter how many alchemy furnaces this brat opens, the divine elixir in his possession will be ours. This brat's cultivation is only at the 2nd transformation half-saint realm, but he was able to enter the secret territory before everyone else. Perhaps he knows the secret of this secret territory. Xiao Rui said faintly. Although he was opening the alchemy furnaces, his attention was always on Jean Sei and Ling Xiao. Xiao Yun's death filled his heart with hatred and killing intent, but Jinsei was the saintess of the Supreme Tao Palace. He did not dare to attack Jinsei in front of everyone. After all, it was very likely that there was no way to completely kill Jinsei in the Void Saint world. In that case, the Shao clan would really offend the Supreme Tao Palace. Although Xiaorui could not wait to kill Jinsei immediately, he did not want to do it too openly. Otherwise, the person in the Supreme Tao Palace would not be able to protect him. Ling Xiao had already opened 8 alchemy furnaces. Nearly half of the alchemy furnaces in the Alchemy Palace had been opened. Ling Xiao had already decided to take the opportunity to leave the Alchemy Palace. He had a premonition that when all the alchemy furnaces were opened, there would be an unavoidable chaotic battle. After all, there were over 100 Supreme Divine Elixir pills here. It was priceless. Anyone would be tempted, especially those high-level half-saints with extremely strong cultivation. They would not allow anyone to take away the Divine Elixir pills. This is? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he suddenly stopped in front of an alchemy furnace. The alchemy furnace in front of him looked very ordinary. It was not made of gold or jade. It looked like an alchemy furnace made of some kind of stone. There was no flame around it, and it was cold to the touch. It looked like an abandoned alchemy furnace. It was very inconspicuous. Chapter 1836. Even Ling Xiao almost overlooked this alchemy cauldron, if not for the wordless heavenly book trembling a few times. For the wordless heavenly book to be able to sense it, there was definitely a treasure in this alchemy cauldron, and it was an extremely precious treasure. Let me try. Ling Xiao suddenly became very curious and wanted to try to see what kind of treasure was in this alchemy cauldron. After walking around the alchemy cauldron, Ling Xiao found that there were no runes or restrictions on the cauldron, and he couldn't sense any elixir aura. There was only a black cauldron lid, as if as long as he opened the lid, he would be able to see the inside. Jinsei, this alchemy cauldron probably has a very precious elixir. I will open the cauldron later, and we will collect the elixir together. After that, we will leave the alchemy palace immediately. Ling Xiao transmitted his voice to Jinsei. At this moment, Jinsei had just opened an alchemy cauldron and took out a divine elixir. Hearing this, her eyes flashed and she nodded. She walked calmly towards an alchemy cauldron near Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao and Jinsei's actions didn't attract the attention of others, except for Lin Shi and Xiaoru. This was because Lin Shi and Xiaorui's attention had always been on Jinsei. Their eyes followed Jinsei's movements, and they were paying attention to Jinsei's every move. Ling Xiao took a deep breath, and his eyes flashed. He reached out and grabbed the lid of the alchemy cauldron in front of him. Terrifying divine power erupted from his body, and he suddenly lifted it up. The lid of the alchemy cauldron didn't move at all. Ling Xiao seemed to have expected this, and his eyes lit up. Interesting. Boom. There seemed to be a dragon's roar in his body, and a vast dragon's power rose. There was a purple light overflowing from his body, and it was flowing with brilliant colors, making him look extremely mysterious. At this moment, the ancestral dragon secret skill and the indestructible sacred technique were activated in his body at the same time, and an extremely terrifying power erupted. Buzz. The lid of the alchemy cauldron trembled slightly. In the face of Ling Xiao's terrifying divine power, even an immemorial sacred mountain could be uprooted directly. Although this alchemy cauldron was very magical, it was still shaken by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's unparalleled godly strength erupted, and the lid of the cauldron rose slightly. Ling Xiao felt as if there was a vast world in his hands, and it was extremely heavy, causing him to feel extremely strained. When Ling Xiao pulled up the lid of the pill furnace instantly underwent a transformation. Rumble. Terrifying divine light gushed out from the alchemy cauldron. It was as if lightning was blazing and dazzling. The entire alchemy cauldron began to tremble. The originally ordinary-looking alchemy cauldron began to emit boundless light. Runes appeared one after another. Chaotic chi lingered around the cauldron. It seemed as if countless shadows of ancient divine beasts had appeared above the cauldron. As the lid of the cauldron slowly opened, The surrounding void trembled slightly. It was as if the ancient people were singing, or as if the divine sound of the great Tao had appeared. The entire alchemy palace became ethereal and mysterious. What kind of alchemy furnace is that? Someone exclaimed, his gaze instantly landing on the alchemy furnace that Ling Xiao was opening. This alchemy furnace was simply too amazing. Its mysterious aura suppressed everything and shocked everyone in the alchemy palace. It must be an unimaginable treasure. Could it be a top-notch divine pill? Everyone's voice trembled a little. They revealed an incomparably blazing light as they rushed over. Rumble. At this moment, a terrifying rumble exploded. The lid of the alchemy cauldron was directly lifted off by Ling Xiao. Boundless light gushed out from the alchemy cauldron. It was like a divine pillar that reached the sky. It shot straight up like a storm and swept in all directions. The weaker half-saints were swept by this divine light storm, and their fighting strength became unstable. They couldn't help but retreat, and their eyes were filled with unimaginable shock. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 dazzling golden lights shot out from the alchemy cauldron at an extremely fast speed. It was as if no one could react. In an instant, they were about to shoot out of the alchemy palace. Everyone could see that they were clearly 3 dazzling golden elixirs. Come over here. A divine light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. The moment he lifted the lid of the alchemy cauldron, he was already prepared. He instantly stretched out his hand and grabbed one of the golden elixirs. Jin Se seemed to have a telepathic connection with Ling Xiao. Her speed was also fast. A dazzling sword light instantly shot out. It rolled in the void and directly rolled up a golden elixir and flew towards her. At the same time, Xiaorui, Tai Xinyuan, Lin Shi, Huang Xuanzong and the others all made their moves. Their eyes were blazing like lightning. They were determined to get the golden elixirs. They all grabbed at the 3 golden elixirs in the void. Lin Shi and Huang Xuanzong both stared at the 3rd golden elixir. Xiao Rui's eyes flashed coldly. He grabbed at the golden elixir in front of Jin Se. Tai Xinyuan was incomparably domineering as he rushed towards Ling Xiao. In addition to them, there were also some high-level sage-to-be who relied on their cultivation. Each of them had unparalleled strength. Their bodies exuded an incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation. They all used various magical means to grab a golden elixir. Their eyes were incomparably sharp. They could see that these 3 golden elixirs were absolutely incomparably precious. Their value was immeasurable. At this time, how could they still care about who opened the alchemy cauldron first? It would belong to whoever grabbed it. The energy around Tai Xinyuan was incomparably violent. His body was incomparably strong. He was like an ancient demonic ape. Even if Ling Xiao could grab the golden elixir, Tai Xinyuan would still be able to directly hit him. Ling Xiao's eyes turned cold. The sky-devouring secret technique in his palm erupted. He instantly sucked the golden elixir into his palm. Then, he threw another punch towards Tai Xinyuan. You're courting death. Tai Xinyuan's eyes turned cold. He didn't expect that Ling Xiao, a mere 2nd revolution sage-to-be, would dare to directly snatch the golden elixir under his nose. Moreover, he didn't dodge. Instead, he dared to attack him. Tai Xinyuan immediately threw a punch. A black fist print erupted with incomparably violent energy. The fist momentum was monstrous. It was as if it wanted to smash everything in front of it into powder. Rumble. The 2 fists collided. Suddenly, the void trembled violently. Dragon roars rumbled from Ling Xiao's body. Purple gas rose. The chaotic light behind him pervaded. It was as if there were 3,000 worlds across the sky. His figure only trembled slightly. He retreated a few steps. However, Tai Xinyuan was sent flying by his punch. What? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.